1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Dorm room with my own private bathroom in the dorm room.
Look at you.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, but you had to be an RA in this particular set of dorms. I felt like I was King George or something.
Yeah, what are you, the quarterback of the football team? Jeez.
Yeah, I felt like royalty.
I mean, if that doesn't get you chicks, I don't know what will.
No, you'd be surprised.
Come on back to my room. I got a bathroom in suite.
Yeah, you know, it's funny at a party. That line doesn't work. Hey, baby, is your stomach upset? I got a private bathroom. That is terrible.
Come on, blow up my bathroom. All good.
No. To be honest, I would not let anyone use this bathroom. So even if it was a potential hookup, I'd be like, nah, still
Sorry,
not
you got
sharing.
it down the hall, Chica.
I'm King George. I got my own bathroom. I'm not sharing.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
Oh, boy. Welcome to the Maggie and Perloff Show. I am Andrew Perloff. Maggie is on a well-earned vacation. And normally, this would be a very antagonistic co-host today. Normally, I have a major issue with Keith McPherson, WFAN Sports Radio in New York. He's a great guy, and he's very smart, but he's got two problems. One, Keith, you're a Nets fan, and you're playing my Sixers. And two, even worse, you're a Cowboys fan, and you know I'm an Eagles fan. How are we going to get through 3 hours today?
We'll be fine. We'll put that to the side. I purposely didn't come in here wearing any team logos.
I noticed that.
That might offend you.
You notice I'm wearing green. This is very specific.
Was that intentional?
Of course it was.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that until now. You wore green, but that's only for the Eagles.
Well, I have a whole set of Sixers gear that I was going to save for later in the week because the Sixers play the Nets on Saturday. But I'm not sure how long I'm going to have you because you are going to have a child very soon, possibly later this week, possibly today. So there's an electricity here. I expect us to be in the middle of a conversation about LeBron James and you to look at your phone and say, maybe you're out of here. This is imminent. This is happening, right?
I just looked at my phone before we started, and my wife sent me a text that we are on standby between tomorrow, so it won't happen today.
Okay.
4:12 and 4:14, we're on standby from when the hospital will say, come in to get this started.
Okay. We are the Maggie and Perloff Show, of course, on CBS Sports Radio, Sirius XM Channel 158. And, of course, we're live on YouTube. I have not gotten a chance to read some of the comments, but, Keith, I expect that you will get some grief for something here in the YouTube chat.
Well, I'm back. I feel like
you were here with Maggie.
When I was here with Maggie, I felt like the show became too much about me. In a good way. In a good way. But like, I wasn't trying to steal the show. It was like we talked about my high school football career.
Yeah.
We talked about my festival run, all the festivals I've gone to.
Ooh.
We talked about my Uber Lyft driving. I'm like, okay, we've made the whole show about my life.
Well, I mean, we could talk about my JV basketball days at Dartmouth College if you want. I could spend a good 6 minutes on that.
I would like to know.
Yeah, no, you really don't. So the thing is, you might have to leave, but you're really one of the people in this building who goes to the most games, and I know you have a really hard time when you miss your team's playing.
Yeah.
So your whole life's about to change. We'll get into this later. Do you have a strategy for not letting your sports watching go down once you have a baby?
The live sports watching is going to be a race for the next 6 weeks. I know that I'm not going to be able to go to the games, and I'm going to miss the playoffs in Brooklyn. I'm going to miss Tino Martinez bobblehead coming up at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to watch everything. I'm going to see everything on TV. I'm just not going to be able to see it live. So what I've been telling people is I'm going back to what I used to be. I used to be a TV watching fan, and then I worked my way into the New York and media and figuring out how to get tickets and get access, and I became a live in-stadium fan. Now I'm just going back to what I know.
Love it. Well, luckily it worked out where you can watch the first night of the play-in tournament, because I know that's huge for everybody here.
If I missed it tonight, I wouldn't lose sleep over it.
So
I will be watching tonight, yes.
I have a little vested interest. The Lakers play the T-Wolves. I keep bragging on the show. First of all, you know that I picked John Rahm to win the Masters. So
I did see
you're talking to somebody who's red
Plus
hot right now.
850.
Yes. I got the Lakers at 40-1 in February to win the NBA title. Now it's something like 15-1. It's insane. Everyone's on the Lakers. I feel pretty good. And not because I'm so convinced that the Lakers are peaking. I think they're playing really well. I think they've won 8 of the last 10.
You feel pretty good that you didn't just throw your money away on that bet? Or
No, I think I did throw my money away, but it's the kind of long shot that is interesting to me because the Lakers are playing well. They've added all these defensive players. Anthony Davis looks great. LeBron looks amazing quietly. I know they're injury prone. But who scares you in the NBA's Western Conference right now? There is so much parity. I know about all the stars in Phoenix. I know about Golden State. I think it's a very hard tournament to predict on the Western Conference side. The East seems kind of easy. I think you and I agree it's Boston, Milwaukee. But the West, why not the Lakers, Keith?
Why not? I mean, we're all going off of LeBron's pedigree and his history and him still being the wash king. What you said was no one scares you, right? Even the 1 seed.
Yeah.
That's not a scary 1 seed. We don't expect
Denver
them.
Nuggets? No.
We don't expect them to run through the. We don't expect them to run through the playoffs and get to the finals. We were talking earlier. I don't think anybody has come out to say this is the Nuggets' year. Yes, the Warriors figured out how to get to the 6th seed, and the Warriors have come out of the West how many times in the last decade, won it all, but they're a little bit older. And they're facing a Kings team that hasn't been in the playoffs for 16 years. Maybe those young guys are too naive to know how big the moment is facing the 4-time champions. And, yeah, KD joins the Suns and Devin Booker. And in theory, that's supposed to work. But we've seen a lot of things in theory with Kevin Durant's team not work out.
Oh, anything specific you're thinking about?
Yeah, like
maybe a couple inches short?
Just like this much on the line. I was at Game 7, and I ran out of there and cried and never returned. Just kidding. I came back. But, yeah, with the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets Big Three was supposed to win it a couple years back. And even, the year where the Raptors won it, KD gets hurt. So a lot of things have to go right in the playoffs. There's always injuries. There's always upsets. There's always a couple guys that don't play up to their potential. And like you're saying, in the West, none of these teams really stand out. The Clippers are weakened without having Paul George. Who are you afraid of? Ja Morant and the Grizzlies, they don't have Steven Adams. And I think that's why the LeBron hype train with all of his respect and fans is really going right now.
And they don't have Brandon Clark in Memphis. I like the Lakers against the Grizzlies. I think if that's the matchup that happens, that helps. If you're the NBA, let's say they have a little say in this. Who do they want to see in the Western Conference Finals? I mean, there's so many stars. You go ahead, but I think it's the older guys. I think they want the Warriors, the Suns, and the Lakers.
Yeah, I think there's a part of the NBA that manufactures all of this. Some way or another, they get who they want there, whether it's, getting Steph another run, right? This Warriors dynasty won last time. I think this is pretty much their last go at it. We expect them to advance and be there. KD, Booker, CP3, those guys we expect to be there. Nikola Jokic, all the talk about a third MVP. There should be more talk about getting to an actual finals.
Yeah.
And I was talking to you about how I feel like Giannis is an international darling, right? He's got the Greek fans. He's got the overseas presence. Well, Nikola Jokic has that as well. The NBA views himself as a global game, right? They would love to see Nikola Jokic advance through a couple rounds. Ja Morant obviously brought some bad publicity onto the NBA, but that's all swept under the rug and forgotten just in time for the play-in. I think, honestly, though, they'd like to see Steph, they'd like to see LeBron, KD, and Jokic, be there in the second round, third round. Well, all of them can't be in the third round, but they'd like to see those guys advance.
Would you agree, though, that the one person they want to see advance the most would be LeBron? I mean, he's 38. We're not going to get a lot more cracks at this.
Mm-hmm.
As a neutral fan in the West, I'm a Sixers fan in the East. I want to see LeBron. I want to see what he can do. I want to see him at the highest level again. I think it'd be one of the incredible sports stories of all time. If he could win a title at 38, I guess it's similar to Tom Brady in his 40s winning a Super Bowl. It's probably even better, though, because in basketball, you have to be completely athletic. Tom Brady's a quarterback. You can win in your 40s, but LeBron to do it at 38, can you think of anything that would match that? Jordan did not do it that late in his career.
No. And I honestly don't expect LeBron to make a run here, but the hype around LeBron, he's the biggest name in the sport, the most followers. Obviously, this season was about him breaking Kareem's record. And then other than that, it was like he didn't play. He missed a lot of time. So now you want to see him play in the biggest moments. And like you're saying, I think he's 38 going on 39. How many more years does he have left? I wouldn't doubt that he would play like another 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
But like this year is paramount. And he's talked about, these last X amount of games are the most important games of my career. Then he got hurt. But also they blew up this team at the trade deadline to try and make their chances better around LeBron. And then the Lakers nation, the Lakers fan base is so massive, right? You want them in it because as the NBA, they power the machine. And for LeBron to be healthy right now, be potentially in that 2-7 matchup against a young Grizzlies team, that's what people want to see. They think potentially LeBron's experience and his pedigree can, get the Lakers through. Let's see it. I think they're going to come up short, but that's why we watch.
Well, if the NBA was going to sort of push certain teams there, how do they do it, in your opinion? Because I think you really believe this.
I really do. Just from years of watching the NBA and having my soul crushed. Obviously, I start with the officiating, and I was giving you the example of Giannis and the Bucks. Never saw a guy get to shoot free throws for 13, 14 seconds. They literally rewrote the the rule books for this guy. It's 10 seconds, and you don't even need 10 seconds. He was allowed 13 seconds. They officiate the game differently for him. He's very physical, and then that extends to the rest of his team. The Bucks are allowed to play a very physical brand of basketball. But we'll see how these refs are. I think this was a bad year for refs. We had a lot of players calling out refs. We had a lot of clear mistakes. I mean, speaking of LeBron threw the biggest tantrum of the season on his hands and knees after that slap against Boston in the no call. So I think the officiating plays a big part in it, and we'll see.
But if they did do this, if they did push certain teams, why push Milwaukee? I know Giannis is an international superstar, but Milwaukee's not a huge market.
Yeah.
And honestly, I love Giannis, but I don't find the Bucks that entertaining to watch.
They're not that fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. They're Spurs like it.
His game in itself, I don't enjoy watching. But when I say he's an international darling, the global game, he was a 2-time MVP that never got there. And that's what the narrative is around these MVPs, right? Nikola Jokic, 2-time MVP, hasn't gotten there. Well, that year that Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden were together, I looked at it as the NBA universe was not ready for the big three, right?
Right.
But the homegrown player, Giannis, who had his own big three, like they did go get Drew Holiday. But, the story behind Giannis being drafted by the team and staying with this team and fighting through and earning MVPs and finally getting to the top of the mountain, they didn't care if it was Suns, Bucks. That was the storyline that year that they pushed. You know what
the difference here is? I was beat down by the process in Philadelphia for years.
I mean, you're still in it.
Well, I think this is why I'm basically still in it. I'm used to losing and being disappointed. I think you are rationalizing why your Nets are not going all the way.
Sure.
And by the way, Pete in the chat asked if you could get him an XL Mikal Bridges jersey. Now, I'm not sure why he can't go on NBA.com store and do it himself.
You need it from the Nets team store?
Yeah, I don't know why. Can you do this? Are you known to have the power to get jerseys out there? You could direct them to the link, right?
I have bought jerseys from the arena, but I've only done that when they've sold out online. Are they sold out online? I know it took them a while to put up the Bridges jerseys. I know for a while we were saying, hey, what am I going to do with this KD jersey, this Kyrie jersey? Can you put the Bridges jerseys up? When they did put them up in the store, they sold out the first game. I guess as I'm looking now, they're kind of scarce. You got to personalize the uniform. unless you want to get Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons jerseys are available for order online.
Oh, you're kidding me. They have some of those left.
There's a ton. I'm sure that there's a surplus of number 10 Brooklyn Nets jerseys, and the Nets always have 3 or 4 different jerseys. You can get Ben Simmons in every colorway, every city edition style, home, away.
Later in the show, I have a story of how I angered Spencer Dinwiddie in his first stint with the Nets. You will love it. You'll hate me, but you will love it. Give us a call if you want to chime in on LeBron's chances of winning the NBA title this year. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Or do you agree with Keith that the NBA pushes certain superstars to the finals? I have to admit, I don't totally disagree. Or if you just want to ask Keith for different jerseys or brag about jerseys you have, give us a call. Next, though, we're going to turn our attention to the NFL. I will argue this is the most significant free agent signing of the offseason and one of the worst free agent signings of the offseason, and yet it will still help the team. We'll get to that and much more right here on Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. Keith McPherson filling in today for Maggie. So, Keith, I got a text from Maggie. Had me a little concerned. She is south of the border, drinking a lot of margaritas with Casamigos in them. And something about a horse farm, and she saw zebras. So, I don't know if this is real or if this is tequila-inspired. This sounds alarming, though, right? Or good.
She's not seeing straight. She's
yeah.
She's had a couple Casamigos margaritas. She's seeing things now.
I'm not aware of zebras being indigenous in the Mexico area, but I think after 4 or 5 drinks, especially for Maggie who's on vacation, and Maggie always tells me she used to get after it back in the day.
Sure, she used to bartend.
Yeah, she's a little different now, but I think she's having a great time. But I'm glad you're in the chair today, even though you are a Nets fan and you are a Cowboys fan. You're a Yankees fan. I don't really care about that. Doesn't bother me as a Philly sports fan. This next Nets-Sixers thing bothers me. But the big thing that bothers me is Cowboys, who I think are having a great offseason. But right now, I think the big story in the NFL is Odell Beckham Jr. signs with the Baltimore Ravens. What was your initial reaction when you read the news?
Played the Jets. Played them. Used them. Made it seem like he was going to fly here. We get the tweet from Josina Anderson over the weekend that Odell Beckham Jr. intends to fly to New York Sunday night and meet with the Jets on Monday. And, I think a lot of Jets fans were celebrating that like, hey, this is another piece to put us closer to a championship, another piece to appease Aaron Rodgers. We're the front runners. Here we go. And then Sunday night you get the news that he signs with the Ravens and you see the numbers behind that contract. The Jets were not going to match that contract. I do believe he gave them the chance to match it. He, showed them and said, "Hey, will you go there?" And they said no. So he said he was feeling more love from the Ravens. Yeah, that's a lot of love. 1 year, $18 million, $3 million in incentives.
Yeah,
really a $14 million signing bonus and a $1.1 million base salary for a guy that is 30 years old, coming off injury again, has had multiple injuries. And has had a couple issues on and off the field. And depending on how you feel about him, people like to label him as a problem, as a diva, as a little bit, outside of the box. So we'll see what they get in Baltimore with OBJ.
Well, he is a little older. He's 30. I'm hopeful for him that some of that diva behavior is bad. Odell is an easy player to like.
Yeah.
Will you ever seen him in the locker room? He is nicer to reporters than most players.
The players love him.
Yeah, and players love him. He is, as Jay Glazer once said, he's the most misunderstood player in the NFL. People really like him. But my issue normally would be that they're signing a 30-year-old wide receiver. Look at the stats of any 30-year-old, especially wide receiver. They go way down. But this one, I understand. Because it's not about Odell Beckham. It's about Lamar Jackson. We both know it.
Yep.
So what is the big deal about spending $15 million on Odell Beckham guaranteed? It's an overpay. But it's going to be a drop in the bucket if you can get Lamar Jackson to come into camp and sign a deal, let's say a number $190 million guaranteed, which is a huge number, but it's not as big as what Lamar Jackson wants. I think that signing Odell Beckham helps the Ravens sell the team to Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson who requested a trade can come back now and say, okay, you made your best effort. It's okay. I'm not going to get the guaranteed contract. I think Lamar Jackson's saving a little face here because they obviously made a step toward him. He wanted OBJ. They're bringing him in. And now I think it's easier for Lamar to come back, and I think it's going to be easier for the Ravens to make a deal that works.
Well, yeah, just a month ago, we hear that he wanted a trade, that he requested a trade. He came out with the tweet about a month ago saying that he requested a trade March 2nd.
Yeah.
And now he's on FaceTime with Odell. He's in the club with Odell Sunday night partying. So I guess in this little bit of time here, he's patched some things up with the Ravens, and I would guarantee that part of those patching up conversations included Odell Beckham Jr. is out there. We need a number one receiver. Mm-hmm. I'm friendly with this guy. He's a game changer. Go sign him. Now, I will say that Odell Beckham Jr. is 30. So becoming a man, you turn 30, you think a lot about your life. He does have a child now. He's got a kid that's just freshly over 1 year old. He's spoken to wanting to play and have his son see him play and try to regain his career. So I think he's super motivated. And I think he knows, right? At this point in your career, you got to get the most money you can get, which that's the Ravens. And if he goes out and balls for 1 year, he can do this again. He can revisit this again with other teams or maybe with the Ravens or maybe Lamar signs long-term like you mentioned and they team up. And they've said that they've had conversations about winning a Super Bowl in Baltimore, OBJ and Lamar. Sounds good, but let's see how it all comes together.
Here's the issue, I think, with wide receivers in Baltimore. Maggie always says this. You've never given Lamar Jackson wide receivers. Now, they've drafted him. They've tried, but the GM, Eric DeCosta, said we've just done a poor job at drafting him. Mm-hmm. I think a big part of the problem is Lamar takes off a lot. He runs over 10 times a game, more than really any quarterback ever. And there's a reason. He's unbelievable at it. He's probably the most electric running quarterback I've ever seen. So what do you do here if Odell Beckham Jr. is playing? He's a number one target. If he's not getting targets because Lamar – at least 10 to 15 times a game is going to tuck that ball under and not throw the ball on the route. Is Odell going to be upset a little bit? Is he going to want more targets here?
I would hope he's mature enough in his career to understand that, hey, man, you're not that explosive guy that we should be targeting 10, 15 times a game. You're literally here with Lamar Jackson. A tweet emerged from years ago where Odell Beckham talked about Lamar Jackson, and he said, I'm going to watch your career. You remind me of my favorite player ever, Michael Vick. Okay, they're similar, but if you know that this guy's going to run the ball, be ready to block.
Yep.
And I think Odell's a willing blocker, and I think he knows coming into that system, I mean, where are you going to get more targets? With Lamar Jackson and the Ravens or with Garrett Wilson, Mecole Hardman, Alan Lazard, Tyler Conklin with the Jets? He becomes the number one guy. It's him and Mark Andrews as far as who they're targeting. And I think people don't give Lamar enough credit for his arm strength and his arm talent. They have a new offensive coordinator, and I didn't know his name, so that's why I was just...
Todd Monken.
Yep. I just had to produce the name on Google. This guy's going to change how they run their offense, and he should know that, okay, you have J.K. Dobbins in the backfield, you have Lamar, now you have OBJ, you have Mark Andrews. Figure it out where it's an offense that defenses have to pick their poison.
Yeah. Here's the issue I have with Lamar. Now, you used to work with Rock Nation. You have some experience on the agency side with NFL players.
Yeah.
How is, in your opinion, and I know you're not with Lamar, how does him not having an agent affect all of this, in your opinion?
Oh, I've talked about this a bunch.
Yeah.
I feel like, one, the machine is working against him, right? Because, and when I say the machine, I mean how the NFL machine is structured. The NFL agents and the NFL don't want players representing themselves too much. Definitely not as high profile as a Lamar Jackson. Laramie Tunsil, sure. Offensive tackle, figures out his deal. Good for you. But like a Lamar Jackson, $200 million guaranteed contract for a quarterback, an MVP that was a first-round draft pick, like all the accolades and stuff. It's bad for business if that guy is negotiating his own contract, because just look at this draft. There's a bunch of quarterbacks coming out in this draft that are going to say, I can do what Lamar did. Me and my mom can powwow over this. We get a couple guys to read over some things, and we cut the middleman out. But I honestly think when you look at Lamar, he's got to be looking at Deshaun Watson's contract, right? That's the whole reason he wants this money. Who did Deshaun Watson's contract? Athletes first. Who did Daniel Jones's contract? Athletes first. there's a reason that these guys are hired to go get top dollar. I think they also did Russell Wilson's contract. Like, these guys go in there and they put the numbers together and they, I guess, figure out how to make it so that their guys get paid.
I think Aaron Rodgers is athletes first as well, and he got $60 million a year. I mean,
so it could be a little penny wise and pound foolish to be cutting the middleman out to save on that 5%. When you go get the right guys and they could get you more money than clearly you're not able to get it on your own. You're franchise tagged and you're having a little bit of a standoff here.
All right, give us a call, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Do you think OBJ is going to work in Baltimore, and will he bring back Lamar Jackson? I think so. Let's go to Jay in Alabama, our buddy. What do you think of OBJ to the Ravens?
Same thing. Got old wide receiver. Got the X and the Y. I don't know. I mean, I know it's ODB, but I mean, come on. It's the same. A little bit of this.
ODB. I'm with you, but ODB is old dirty bastard.
I know. I call him ODB, man. My bad. But anyways, but like I was saying with the contract, like you guys were talking with the contract, and like I said a while ago, you are asking for $250 million. So they're looking like, look, we ain't giving you all that money. Somebody else can't eat off of it either. So, and I think he just wasn't understanding that. But, I mean, it's like, look, wow, you had to go through Lamar. You and Lamar had to go through all that stuff just so you could finally get him a receiver. And then you're going to need another receiver. And you're going to need I know you guys mentioned J.K. Dobbins, but that dude and every running back they got stays hurt. It's like a World War II mind camp of broke-down running backs. And all their players are like that. So, I mean, whoever their GM, the dude sucks.
Well, it used to be why am I blanking on their GM's name? It's a new GM. Ozzie Newsome?
Yeah, it used to be. Now it's Eric DeCosta.
Yeah.
See, I don't agree with that because the Ravens are like the Atlanta Braves in baseball. They keep losing guys. They keep bringing guys up who don't know on defense, and they never, ever go away. They're so weird like that. They've lost more defensive free agents over the last 10 years, refill those spots with late-round picks, and are dominant. I think Lamar Jackson's coming back, and I think Baltimore is going to win 12 games this year.
Could be. We were talking before. Yeah. Like they were a QB sneak across the goal line away from beating the Bengals. And, I mean, arguably the Bengals could have gotten back to the Super Bowl. I love that they went out and traded for Roquan Smith. They drafted Kyle Hamilton. Like, they just make the right moves, and they were clearly missing the engine. They were missing the main cog, which is Lamar Jackson, who's a game breaker. If he comes back and everything's all good and he is healthy, they are going to be competitive in the AFC.
Yeah, it's funny. Kyle Hamilton, I loved him so much in college. I'm not sure he totally hit there, but I agree. Even if he doesn't hit, they have third and fourth rounders who will. The only problem
I think he'll be better next year.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's tough to come into the NFL as a safety.
Safety's a hard one.
Yeah, it's arguably the quarterback of the defense, but he's an athlete, and I think he's a smart kid. I think he's going to take a step forward.
We're going to get into some mock drafts later in the show. My Eagles need a safety, by the way, and it's supposed to be, and I quote, a paper-thin safety draft, which kind of bothers me. But next on the Maggie Perloff Show, we're going to help our co-host today, Keith McPherson. We're going to help because, Keith, I have the most important piece of advice for a new father. It is the one thing that is going to save your life.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
I am. I need all the advice I can get.
All right, and you can weigh in, too, if you want to help out Keith or talk about OBJ and the Ravens. Give us a call, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. But Perloff with some fatherly advice will be coming next. But first, here's Rich Ackerman with a sports update.
Sports Flag.
Well, the NBA playoffs begin this weekend, but 4 more teams are still to be determined with the play-in tournament beginning tonight. First up will be the Hawks and Heat in Miami, which own the season series. Now it's Atlanta from the playoffs a year ago. Miami finished 3 games better than the Hawks did this year. The Lakers take on the Timberwolves. LA had a rough start, but put it together down the stretch, winning 9 of the final 11. LeBron James said there is a lot more to this team.
We had games that we could have won. We had games that we should have won. We had some, things that didn't go our way. So to know where we are today, you can, be happy about that, but not satisfied.
The Timberwolves had an interesting finish with wins in 7 of the last 10, including the final 3. But the ugly side was this weekend's finale, in which Rudy Gobert punched Kyle Anderson, and as a result, the veteran big man will not play tonight. Jaden McDaniels also out after punching a wall and breaking his hand, ending his season. Kyle Filipowski is heading back to Duke for his sophomore year. The Lions are reportedly sending corner Jeff Okudah to Atlanta for a 5th-round pick, and the Rays go for their 11th straight to open the season when they continue their series with the Red Sox tonight. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is Jim Rome. Have a strong take? Then I want to hear from you. Weekdays from 12 to 3 Eastern, right here on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's an exciting day here on Maggie and Perloff. Maggie's out, but Keith McPherson from WFAN in New York is sitting in, at least for today. So, Keith, you could have a baby any day now this week.
It's lining up to be in the next 3 days, hopefully not any longer than that. I'm honestly just texting my wife now, and she's like, yeah, it's fine, it's fine. I'm like, no, it's not fine. We need to know what day. We need to know if it's tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. But, yeah, we're in the last of days. It could be any day now.
So on your show, which is on at night here in New York, how much advice do you get on how to not drop off as a sports fan while you are a young father?
I don't think anyone has given me advice about like how to go about watching sports or not dropping off. It's just been advice about being a dad, being a father. I'm kind of, taking all of this for the first time in. I'm taking it all, head on, and I'll try and figure it out as I'm in it. But lay on me any advice you have.
Well, first of all, I have no concerns about you being a good father. That part's easy. You're going to be a great father.
Thanks.
I am worried about you, the sports fan. That is my main concern here, because I know there's no one in this office who loves his teams like Keith. So I worry about you, because this happened to me. I was, at the height of my career, and I was watching so much football, so much basketball. Then these two little beautiful girls came into my life. And then I had to make choices. So here's my advice. Make sure all the sports you can watch on your phone, because you're going to have to stay up late in the kids' room, and you're going to tell your wife that you're just there with the kid. You have nothing to do. It's so boring. Basically, the second you walk out of the room, the kid's going to start crying. So watch your games on your phone, which you probably already do. You seem like you have all the packages.
I have everything streamable. It was a dream as a kid to be able to watch sports on the phone. So, yeah, I have every way to stream my teams on my phone.
Okay, so, and if your wife says, oh, don't worry, I'll do it, you can say, honey, I got this, because you're watching the Yankees game, so you're double dipping. The kid has no idea. They have no idea. Don't give me this quality of parenting stuff. That's my opinion. Just watch sports.
Oh, put the phone down, spend some time with your baby. Don't let them see you staring into the phone at a Yankee game.
That's when they're 14, not 14 months. You are totally fine. So don't let anyone tell you differently. You can still watch almost as much sports. So this fall, you have an interesting choice, though, because you can watch every NFL game on your phone now, because Sunday Ticket is gone from DirecTV only to YouTube. And today YouTube came out with their prices. Now, let me make sure I have these right. If you are a member of YouTube TV, it is $249 for the regular Sunday Ticket package through June 6th. Then it goes up $100 if you do it closer to the season. If you do not have YouTube TV, it is, I believe, $349 before the season, and then up $100 after that. So that's without Red Zone. So are you going to do this deal, and are you going to do it early?
I'm going to wait.
You're going to wait?
I think I'm going to wait, because I want to see if I actually need it. For my job, I need to know what the Jets and Giants did for WFAN.
Right.
I'm a Dallas fan. They usually get primetime games. They're not hard to find.
Or 425 Fox all the time.
425 on Fox. Sunday night football, Monday night football, Thursday night football, Thanksgiving game. The price is a little high. But the NFL is king, so I know people are going to pay it. I got a kid on the way. I got a budget. So I don't know if I'm jumping at this $350 subscription. I don't have YouTube TV. I have Fubo TV. Shout out to the Fubo fam. I don't pay for that. I worked at Fubo, so I was able to get that for free. That is the perk of my life because they have MLB TV, NBA League Pass, NFL Network, NHL Network, MLB Network, NBA TV. So I watch most of my stuff there. But for this package, like, I can watch the Jets and Giants on CBS and Fox. Red Zone is built into Fubo for me.
So you have Red Zone.
So I have Red Zone.
That's huge.
Right. I don't know. I would be paying $349 for the early bird if I went early bird, and I just don't know if there's that many games. Now, if let's see, it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing a football show where I need to know more about some other teams, or I feel like I'm missing something, then maybe I end up doing it. And I understand saving that $100 is big, but I think there's just enough ways. There's enough ways for me to finesse around having to commit to a $350 bill or a $450 bill for just NFL.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you have your New York games on all the time, you have the Cowboys on all the time. Are you, when you're not watching those teams, are you more of a red zone person than watching whole games?
I would say I'm more of a red zone person because I do two things. I make parlays and I play fantasy football.
Okay.
Where you can see if your parlays are going to hit. And like when I say I make parlays, I do the touchdown, anytime touchdown builder parlay, 2 touchdown parlay. And then I do fantasy football where you can watch your team by watching Red Zone, see who scores, see who's close to scoring. That's the worst feeling. There's a guy on your team comes up short from, the 1-inch line. But yeah, I think I can manage. I think I can figure this out with CBS, Fox, and Red Zone.
Okay. I'm going to do the early deal because I know how I am. I know it's going to be week 1. And if it's just one game that you have to watch for a bet or because
or just the best matchup of the week.
Or it's not that. It's I have a few friends in the NFL. I have to watch every play they have. So I have to watch them. I have to watch the Eagles. The Eagles are not as much a guarantee as the Cowboys. You might miss a couple. They get a lot of prime time, especially since they made the Super Bowl, which I'm trying to rub it in, by the way, to your Cowboys.
That they made the Super Bowl?
Well, they made the Super Bowl. When's the last time the Cowboys made the Super Bowl?
Cowboys haven't made the NFC Championship in 27 years. We're not worried about making it. You got to win it. Got to win it. I'll give you credit for beating Tom Brady with Nick Foles back then, but making the Super Bowl, nobody remembers that.
Wait, no, get out of here. For a team that wasn't...
Jalen Hurts, we'll remember his performance.
There was no expectation. I think that was a pretty remarkable run.
And
by the way, also, I'll say the same thing. Making the World Series for the Phillies was also a pretty great run.
So you guys are going to make the NBA Finals and lose in the finals this year?
That seems to be the trend. And you know what?
And that'll be good enough.
Am I such a loser? I'm kind of happy. If this Sixers team made the finals, I mean, come on.
No, that would be progress in the process. Actually getting to the Eastern Conference Finals and winning it, that would be good enough for a lot of Sixers fans that went through some tough times and $10 tickets over there.
You know how Dr. Jill Biden wanted to invite Iowa to the White House?
Yeah.
I thought that was secretly because she's an Eagles fan, and she wanted to invite the Eagles for losing the Super Bowl. See, I was the only one who was, as a Philadelphia fan.
She's trying to switch up the process of bringing teams. Let's invite the losing team.
I'm all for it. I don't want to jump into that LSU-Iowa topic at all.
No.
But, yeah, I think the Eagles and the Phillies and probably the Sixers should go there. But I'm actually okay with the price, and I think I'm not going to call you out because I know you're a real football fan, but it's only $350. If you're a real football fan, don't you have to do it just for pride?
It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, but
like that's some people's whole cable bill.
That's true.
That's some people's whole cable and internet bill, and then they have like 4 boxes in their house for $350.
But I know all these guys who used to have DirecTV just so they could get Sunday tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So those
it'll get claimed. I'm, as of today, saying that I'm not jumping on any early bird special. I'm going to wait to see how I feel. Let me wait till the schedule comes out where we know who's playing who. And then
get out of here. What's the difference? You know there's going to be great games.
There's going to be great games. But if there's a game that I'm like, okay, I got to lay eyes on this game and I can't do it through Fox, CBS, Amazon Prime. That's another thing with the Thursday night games. I saw a tweet. And it's funny because it's true. This is where we're at with the streaming world. It's like, okay, The NFL fan in 2023, you need YouTube TV, you need ESPN, you need Amazon Prime, you need CBS, Fox, ABC, and NBC to watch all of these NFL games.
I know. Have you, as a Yankee fan, have there been any Amazon-only games?
Yeah.
It's kind of tough, right? Because you might want to flip over to the Mets game.
You're stuck in the app. And in the beginning, the app wasn't that great. Like, its functionality wasn't that great. So what they did was take the Tuesday night games that used to be broadcast on Channel 11 to the public. They took those off of Channel 11 and put them into Prime. Business, it's business. And we'll get the Prime games. And for my job, I need to watch the Mets and Yankees at the same time. You can't do that in Prime. You can't. And then I have Apple TV where you have to, like, actually exit out of the app, go to the other app. The switchability is not there.
No, it's not good, and that's an issue on Thursday nights for football season. All right, how about on the other side of the glass? Stu, are you going to pay for Sunday ticket?
Yes, as a Raiders fan who lives in New York, and I don't want to get stuck with the Jets and Giants every week. I want to watch the Raiders. I want to watch Red Zone. I will pay for it. And I did the math. It does come out to 18 weeks. If you do the $350, it comes out to under $20 a week. So that's about $19.45 per Sunday if you're willing to do that, which I am. So I'm going to do it.
Okay.
When you break it down like that, it's more affordable. But when I see like a one-time purchase,
it's a big number
today at $350 or $450, I'm like, I can wait on that.
All right, Emmanuel's on the board today. I don't know who your football team is.
I'm a Jets fan.
Okay. So are you going to dive in here?
No, I already have Red Zone, and I'm not a full games guy when it's not my team or not the Giants. I'm a outcome guy. So I want to see who scores. I want to see stats. I want to see who did what. But I'm not fully invested in, I got to watch the minutia of out-of-town games.
What?
I'm just not.
It's
no.
the NFL.
These Jets fans are worried about the Jets, though.
No, I'm fully locked in.
There's no local teams in the NFL. Every NFL team is somewhat national. So you're telling me if it's the Dallas Cowboys playing the New England Patriots, you're not curious to watch that game? You just sort of want to see what happens afterward?
No, I want to see like the scoring plays, which is the kind of the essence of Red Zone. But unless it's like a big time game, and I'll normally watch Sunday night. I'll normally watch the primetime games, but unless it's like a huge game with something massive on the line, I'm not interested in that game. I'm not. Unless it's a Jets game.
What do you think, Keith, about announcers in today's NFL? Is it such a big deal if Emmanuel and Stu, too, I know does this a lot, just watching Red Zone, why are we so obsessed with who is calling, who's the CBS 1A team and who's the Fox A team? And does it really matter if everyone's watching Red Zone?
I don't think it affects the game that much. Honestly, if you know football, you can watch the game without Tony Romo predicting the plays. But since it's turned into such a lucrative profession, that's what we're talking about, really. It's like, oh, Tony Romo made $17 million. Oh, Tom Brady slated to make $375 million. Oh, he's going to push Greg Olsen out of the seat. Greg Olsen just made $10 million. He's got to take a $3 million pay cut. That's crazy. What it is. But when you're watching the game, you know, Joe Buck, I don't know.
We like CBS.
Al Michaels. Like these guys, none of the Chris Collinsworth, none of these guys are bad until they're really bad, and then social media plays a big part in that. They'll just take one clip. So, well, here's a guy, and then that just gets run a bunch of times, and they make it seem like Chris Collinsworth isn't a good broadcaster. It doesn't really matter, though. Me, I can watch the game on mute.
Me too. All right, let's go to Paul in California, who has an issue with the Sunday ticket price. What's up, Paul?
Hey, Andrew. How are you, pal?
Great, buddy. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Big Dog says hi. Hey, so Keith, great to have you filling in for Maggie. It's always great to hear you on the radio.
Thanks.
So when I read about YouTube this morning, I about fell over. There's no way I'm paying $499. And Andrew, I was one of those DirecTV guys for a number of years, and during the pandemic, I had to switch over because I couldn't get high enough internet, and I missed it tremendously. But there's no way between my Amazon, my Apple Plus, I'm going to go broke with all the channels.
I know. Listen, I have to go back. There's about 6 things I subscribe to that I need to get out of. Thank you, Paul. I totally appreciate it and work with you.
Disney Plus.
Yeah. I don't want to name out
HBO Max.
Yeah, I don't want to name out any networks because you probably have worked for, or will work with several of these.
Connected to them all.
Yeah, I think we all oversubscribe. But you know what? I'm not going to make the mistake of waiting past June 6th and paying another $100 because I know I'm going to do it. I know I'm going to do it in the fall. It's going to be some weird bet I have on a Browns game.
Did you have NFL Plus last year?
No, I had Sunday Ticket last year.
Oh, you had Sunday Ticket.
Yeah.
So you're just rolling over into YouTube now having the rights.
Yeah. So I basically did not have DirecTV, but I was in a building that could not get DirecTV.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the internet package, and it was great. So I watch on my computer. I actually, for some reason, never routed through my TV. So I have the big game on the TV, then 4 games on my computer, and Red Zone somewhere. So
you're locked in on Sunday.
Sunday, Sunday.
You don't leave the house, right? You just stay and watch. That's what I do. I refuse. I'm not taking any bookings, any guest appearances. Sunday is a day where I'm melting into my couch and I'm absorbing all of the NFL content from, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Except that you didn't use past tense there, and you are having a kid this week, so. Whatever. I'm not gonna panic you. Let's keep the good vibes going. How many months will
my kid be by September? Yeah. Hopefully he's acclimated and ready to watch football with me.
All right, coming up, we have a new mock draft from Mel Kiper with a completely surprising quarterback. That's coming up next on Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining.1 minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Perloff looks at me and goes, "The natty? Really?" He said it was like someone calling something cool the bomb. I think people are still saying the natty.
This is not about hip or not hip. It's not like any 21-year-old walking in Brooklyn and saying the natty.
Do you call winning the championship the chip?
If you said he's got 2 chips, oh boy, I would have really given you a look.
Washed has somehow maintained a much longer presence than it ever should have.
I get my lettuce at the grocery store triple washed.
This is the man claiming to be the coolest person on the show.
I'm definitely hipper than Axe.
I don't know about that.
I wouldn't go there.
A Ralph Lauren polo 3/4.
Yeah,
sure.
What's wrong with that? A little
you
class.
make Eli Manning look like he's ready to walk the catwalk at Fashion Week.
Who are you, Ralph Lauren himself?
When did the Mannings become fashion icons?
They did not.
Step off, Dad.
Here are Maggie and Perloff.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Maggie is on vacation south of the border. Some strange notes coming north that we'll get into a little later. But I'm so happy to have Keith McPherson sitting in today from WFAN in New York. Now, normally, we would not get along. We really don't get along. We give each other ugly looks in the hallway because I'm wearing my Allen Iverson sweatshirt and Keith is wearing his, who's a great net? I'm trying
Vince
to remember.
Carter.
Vince Carter. Oh, I love
Jason
Vince Carter.
Kidd.
Yeah.
Keith Van Horn.
Wearing his Nets gear. And, of course, we're squaring off this weekend. And he's a Cowboys fan. Now, I have to admit something kind of strange. I'm a diehard Eagles fan. Been an Eagles fan my whole life. Kind of the way the show has gone, I've become the big Dak Prescott defender. Maggie, it's not that she doesn't love Dak Prescott. She just doesn't think he's a top 8 Super Bowl quarterback. Top 8 in the league.
Understandable.
But I think Dak Prescott's problems last year were the receiving core, all new, how many drops had turned into interceptions, and somewhat the coaching. I think Dak Prescott can be very, very good. Kind of what we saw 2 years ago. I don't think the problem is Dak. I think there's a lot of other problems with the Cowboys. You're a Cowboys fan. What do you think?
That $15 million running back that was kind of past his prime. Them trading Amari Cooper away, thinking that CeeDee Lamb was ready to just emerge into this number one receiver without a Robin to his Batman. Also an injury that knocked Dak out for 4 or 5 weeks, kind of threw his season off a bit. I don't know. I think this year's a big year for Dak. I used to defend Dak so much, but this past season I just couldn't do it anymore. He led the league in interceptions, and he didn't play a full season. And like you said, yeah, some of those were assisted by receivers dropping passes. Literally, Noah Brown gave the game to the Jacksonville Jaguars, not catching that pass. But, when it came down to it against the Niners, 20 points wins you that game, and he wasn't able to do it. Once Tony Pollard went down, it was really on him, and it seemed like he was forcing the ball to CeeDee Lamb, and that was all they had. And, if that's not going, what do you have?
Well, that's the issue. He had no confidence in anyone except CeeDee Lamb. Now they get Brandon Cooks.
Yep.
And they're coming up on a draft where there is a good chance that they could draft a tight end. So Mel Kiper of ESPN put out a mock draft today. And we're really going to talk about the quarterbacks at the top and a surprise quarterback he put at the end of the round. But before we do that, at number 26, he has the Dallas Cowboys taking Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, stud, obviously one of the most well-known college tight ends in recent memory. That's not exactly what you would do, Keith.
No, if he's there, I think they might take him because he might be if he's the first tight end taken, he's the best available at the position. But I just think with this draft being so loaded at the top with quarterbacks, some good defensive players are going to drop, some good offensive linemen are going to drop.
You guys draft offensive linemen
all the time.
You guys draft offensive linemen all the time.
We draft offensive linemen all the time, and they're hurt all the time. And then, like, every year the Cowboys are like piecing their line together. And some of these guys that they drafted are now old guys. Tyron Smith is an older guy.
Yeah.
Zach Martin's getting up there in age. You could always use more reinforcements on the O-line. They also need interior defensive line. And for years I've been screaming, draft a corner with that first overall pick. We'll see how the corners shake out. But if, I don't know, Joey Porter Jr. is still there, I don't think he's going to be there. And I don't think the kid Gonzalez is going to be there, or the kid Witherspoon out of Illinois.
Those guys
are going to be gone. It's a passing league. Like the top corners will be taken.
But wait, you already have Trevon Diggs, and now you have Stephon Gilmore at cornerback, and you have Micah.
Is suspect, but yes.
And you have Micah Parsons terrorizing the quarterback, who only has 2 seconds to throw the ball anyway. You're telling me Gilmore and Diggs can't do enough covering? I don't see that. I think the pass rush helps the defensive back so much.
I think the Cowboys are set. Like, in their mind, they went and got Stephon Gilmore to be on the other side of Diggs to say, okay, we're good. We don't have to, necessarily use that first-round pick on a corner, but you still need the depth. They got cooked because they were relying on rookies in that last playoff game.
Yeah.
You still need depth. You need your own guys. I'm looking at Dan Quinn's defense like maybe they need another linebacker. I know they're bringing back Leighton Vander Esch, but maybe you need another young linebacker to put in the middle somewhere. I don't know. I want them to take the best available player. I don't care offense or defense, because this is a team that won back-to-back 12-game seasons, and they're not far away. It's not like there's one huge need. People are going to say tight end because Dalton Schultz, who they made into Dalton Schultz, went and signed with the Texans, but they just weren't going to pay him top dollar because they feel like they can plug in a Jake Ferguson, a Peyton Hendershot, or draft Kincaid or Meyer, whoever's available. But I don't think it's the skill positions that need so much help.
Well, I think that Dak needs that insurance policy of a guy 10 yards down the field with a big catch radius. Though.
Yeah, from Jason Witten to Dalton.
Dalton Kincaid at Utah is a star. He's going to be great. He's kind of like a wide receiver. But I like what you said earlier. You can get a guy in the second or third round who can produce there. But I want to talk actually the top of this draft, which is not super surprising, as Bryce Young, this is Mel Kiper, Bryce Young, number 1 to the Panthers. Then C.J. Stroud, number 2 to the Texans, which, by the way, is not happening. And I'll tell you why that's not happening. You mentioned athletes first. Texans were tortured by athletes first and Deshaun Watson.
Yep. I read that
not
story.
Picking C.J. Stroud and David Mulugeta.
They don't want to deal with him.
So there's a lot. Have you noticed, if you follow the draft, there's a lot of scuttlebutt that if Bryce Young goes number 1, the Texans might not go quarterback. They might go defensive player. Or they might go, I think they might trade back. They have the number 12 pick. Maybe get your quarterback there. Maybe go for Anthony Richardson, who I like a lot. Very raw, but obviously huge upside. But here's the interesting thing about Kiper. He has the Titans trading up into the number 3 pick with Arizona, and then them taking Anthony Richardson out of Florida. Is it time to do that in Tennessee? Wait, what? Everyone's going to love that deal.
No, because what if you miss? What if this guy's, Jamarcus Russell? And I don't think he will be. But
he's 6'4" and runs a 4.4.
You paid Tannehill like 3 years ago. You draft Malik Willis in the second round last year. Now you're going to trade up to go get Anthony Richardson. If you do that, he's the starter. I know they're going to go with Tannehill, but if you give up that much, it's like.
Well, Trey Lance wasn't the starter.
The Trey Lance situation just popped in my head, too, right? They gave up a lot to go get him, and then they end up running with Brock Purdy last year. And
maybe I should not have used that as a positive, but Patrick Mahomes sat a year. I could go through the examples. So if you still have Tannehill, Tannehill could be the bridge quarterback to Anthony Richardson. What else? What's the upside? Where are you going if you're the Tennessee Titans? Derrick Henry's getting too old. Ryan Tannehill's not the answer. You're going to have to make some kind of radical move at some point here.
Yeah, and I guess they're thinking more offense. If they're not going to pay Derrick Henry or bring him back, right?
Maybe trade him?
I don't know. There's so many things that can happen in the draft. I think this is going to be a big year for trades and movement.
Yep.
And it's just going to be about teams going to get their guy. And, I don't think they're a quarterback away. And I also don't think that, back-to-back years they should be, they're completely done with Malik Willis. They don't feel like he can turn into anything.
It looks, they benched him for Josh Dobbs, who they signed out of nowhere off the street last year, and played him in a critical game.
Dobbs went somewhere else.
Yeah, Dobbs, I think is he in Cleveland, or he was in Cleveland. But, no, it doesn't look like they were super high on Malik Willis. So I want to hear your thoughts on Anthony Richardson, though, because he seems to be the polarizing guy in this draft. His upside is tremendous, but he only started 13 games, low 50s in his completion percentage. But you know how coaches are. You played college football. Coaches are going to see him and say, look at those skills. I can coach him to be elite. So you know he's going high. I don't see a scenario where he falls out of the first half of the first round.
Because he's a freak athlete. He's 6'5", 250, running and jumping like that. People feel like he's like a once-in-a-generation athlete, but he's a quarterback. And there's so much that goes into playing the quarterback position. To use that much draft capital on a project, on a roll of the dice, a guy that maybe becomes, I don't know.
Well, what if he's good enough as a runner like Justin Fields was last year in Chicago? I know they didn't win a lot of games. What if Anthony Richardson can buy some time with his legs to learn how to become more of a complete quarterback?
There's no such thing as buying time with your legs. You're going to get hit. You're going to get beat up. Look at these guys last year. Lamar dropped. Kyler Murray dropped. Justin Fields dropped. Jalen Hurts was hurt for a little bit.
He was.
It's tough to, in this NFL, say, okay, I'm a running quarterback only or primarily.
I thought it was amazing that Daniel Jones, he took off so many times last year for the Giants. I was sure he was going to get hurt.
Watching the way he runs the ball, watching his games, I was saying on WFAN, this guy needs to add a juke or a stiff on him because he's going to get wrecked. Like, he runs straight up and down. Somebody's going to kill him. He, I don't know, for some reason dodges all the tough contact. He took a step forward running the ball. With Anthony Richardson, I think he's a freak. I think that somebody's going to reach for him, but it's got to be the right situation. Like, I wouldn't, obviously the Jets aren't here, but I wouldn't want to see him go to a place like the Jets that is drafted and failed with plenty of quarterbacks. You got to draft him into a situation where he doesn't have to start right away. So not the Colts or, not most of these teams at the top. You want to draft him into a situation where he can sit behind a guy. Maybe the Titans do make the most sense if Tannehill is good for another year.
So you look at this year's class. Kuiper has 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterback. That'll be the first time in NFL history.
Yeah, so it's not going to happen.
Okay. I was going to say, this is not, to me, the best class of quarterbacks I've ever seen. So for this one to be 1, 2, 3, 4 with a guy, number one, who's 5'10 and a half, and Bryce Young. Number two, C.J. Stroud's pretty complete. But then Will Levis and Anthony Richardson are total projects.
Yeah.
How could this be 1, 2, 3, 4? So you don't think it's going to happen?
It's just the trend of the league and where we're at. You can't win without a quarterback. I mean, look at the Super Bowl. You get the MVP and the MVP runner-up battling it out in the Super Bowl. And that Super Bowl, obviously, you remember what happened?
In the Super Bowl? Wait, this year? Or are you talking about?
So this past Super Bowl, I was going to say it could have went either way.
I remember. So it's weird. I remember halftime. It's 24-14, and Patrick Mahomes is limping, and I'm about 8 yards away from him because I walked down to the side of the field, and I'm planning the victory parade in my head. I'm ready to go down to Broad Street. It's 24-14, and the Eagles have this great pass rush. We are going to get after Mahomes in the second round. Little did I know that the universe cheated and made the field too slippery. So then I black out. So I don't really remember what happened after halftime, Keith.
Patrick Mahomes took over. It's all about having the guy under center, and that's why there's so much hype on these guys. Which one of these guys can be a game changer when all of them have question marks around them, right? Like, Kyler Murray is working his way back. I think he might be an inch taller or half an inch taller than Bryce Young.
He's actually, I've been around both of them. I think he's a little shorter, but you could fit 2 Bryce Youngs into Kyler Murray. He's so thick. He's like he's like shortstop thick.
Yeah.
You know how he is so strong. Bryce is not strong. I know he weighed 204 at the combine, but
he's going to get smacked.
But he's so good at avoiding trouble. He'll run around.
He's elusive. I mean, the NFL
question is how long can you do that?
That's what I'm saying. All of these guys are freak athletes. All of these guys are special. But when you get to the NFL, all of the DNs are running 4.5 now.
Yeah.
4.4 now. They're sending corner blitzes and safety blitzes, and like you got Micah Parsons running you down. Like, you have to be a freak. You have to. That's why they're looking at Anthony Richardson. Like, okay, if this guy is what he is, then this is the type of quarterback of the future that can actually like dominate this league. He referred to himself as Cam Newton, and Lamar Jackson.
I love that. He said that on our show too, and he was great, by the way. He's really funny and a great personality for a locker room. But listen, you can't help but look at the stats of college. And Will Levis even more so. Will Levis has no stats. He basically didn't go anywhere at Penn State, goes to Kentucky, and usually, I understand Kentucky was a defensive-oriented team, but you think a move like that, he'd have to explode to be this NFL prospect. I just think he's big, just like Richardson. He's big.
He's got some
and
muscle.
Strong. But do you think being big doesn't help protect you from anything? Does it? I mean,
no, and I don't.
You have a bigger target.
I don't like his throwing motion, and I watched him at the combine, and to really get the ball down the field, I feel like.
I thought he looked good at throwing
at the combine. There was a couple throws where I'm just like, his motion is so compact.
Yeah,
I think he also is aided by social media.
Yeah,
he had a viral video of him whipping passes in a turf dome. And then also there's stuff about him eating bananas with the skin on it and putting mayonnaise in his coffee.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody knows who he is off of things that have nothing to do with being a good quarterback.
Well, Kuiper has him at number 4 to the Colts, and there's a lot of smoke that the Colts like Will Levis. Then again, the Colts have been a very unusual team.
The Colts liked Carson Wentz. They liked Phillip Rivers. They liked Matt Ryan.
That kind of ends the story there. Yeah, but now they want to draft someone and go young. Yeah, it'd be weird to me if these guys went 1, 2, 3, 4, because I don't think you're going to see immediate. I think you'll see immediate success from Bryce Young in Carolina, but they don't have much receivers. I think the team is in the NFC South. That helps a lot. But Houston, why would they take C.J. Stroud? They have no receivers. They're in the AFC. I don't see where that would go. And then Anthony Richardson isn't even going to play. It's going to be. Remember that draft where Jake Locker went number 8. Blaine Gabbert went number 10, and Christian Ponder went number 12. Very similar. Teams desperately wanted a young quarterback. They saw the success and we got to draft someone. And then we forget. We forget that Zach Wilson failed. We forget that Trey Lance hasn't paid out yet. We forget that Mac Jones is now apparently in a battle for his job with Bailey Zappi.
Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, even Carson Wentz, the guy in the poster behind me, he was a sure thing.
Robert Griffin and Andrew Luck.
Well, Andrew, yeah. I mean, RG3 is a rookie. If you had told me he was only going to have 2 good years in the NFL,
nope,
I never would have believed it. It is so hard to make it. So I think they're going to overdraft these quarterbacks this year.
Of course they are. And earlier I was telling you it's a domino effect, right? It's just one chip falling and then overreaction. Yeah. So and I think it's going to happen. If a quarterback goes 1 overall, 2 overall, then all the quarterbacks, you're about to see Hendon Hooker taken in the first round.
Well, that's my surprise quarterback. He has Hendon Hooker at the end of the first round.
Somebody's going to take him, even though he's hurt and he can't play until next year at some point. Someone's going to take him just because of the domino effect. Quarterback gets taken off. Oh, we're a quarterback needy team, or we're interested in drafting a young guy now. Take the best available. There might be 5 first-round quarterbacks.
Yeah, Kuiper has Hendon Hooker going number 30 to Seattle via trade. Not a terrible situation because he can wait behind Geno, who's on sort of a 1-year contract. It could be a longer contract.
Yeah.
I like Hendon Hooker. He came from a funny offense at Tennessee, where this Josh Heupel sort of Art Briles offense, where the receivers just running the space. So it's a long translation.
There's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft.
Yeah, then
Stetson
you can go
Bennett.
Stetson Bennett, I think.
When you get a little deeper, Max Dugan.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are kind of short, but.
What's the kid out of UCLA?
Oh, Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking Dorian Finney-Smith.
DTR, Dorian Thomas-Robinson.
Not DFS.
Yeah, and then Clayton Tune out of Houston is a guy who's picking up a lot of steam. But here's the other problem, Keith, and we got to break it a second. Next year's draft class is awesome. You got Caleb Williams is a truth out of USC. You have Drake May in North Carolina, Jaden Daniels at LSU. So what happens if you draft one of these guys, say Anthony Richardson, and you don't play him, and you win 4 games, and you're sitting at number 2 next year, and you have a great quarterback?
You do what Arizona did when they took Kyler Murray.
Great. All right, if you want to weigh in on the draft, give us a call, 855-212-4CBS. 855-212-4227. Will these 4 quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, 4, and will they work out? Oh, boy. All right, coming up, are we witnessing the greatest start in Major League Baseball history? And more importantly to Keith, does it mean anything? I'll explain. Coming up right here on Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Sitting in with Keith McPherson today. Now, Keith, you know about the YouTube chat. 4:20 Eastern is a big time here for whatever reason. I'm not quite sure why, but everyone leaves the chat momentarily and comes back with funnier comments 5 minutes later. But they are showering praise on you. I feel like it's weird. I've been searching through the chat here, and I'm not seeing any praise for me. It must be because you're about to be a dad, and they're worried about you. I don't know what's going on otherwise.
I got the pre-dad glow. You got the old dad glow.
Yeah. Hey. All right. So you are a huge baseball guy, Yankees fan. How scared are you that the Tampa Bay Rays are 10-0, the first team, and I love this, since the 1987 Brewers and 1982 Braves to start out 10-0, closing in on the all-time record of 13-0. How scared are you of this start in Tampa?
I'm not scared at all. I'm no more afraid of the Rays than I already was. I look at the Rays as a team that does more with less. A team that had a down year last year for their standards and wasn't going to have another down year. And obviously, they're off to a historic start. So there's no one that could say that, they were going to follow up last year with another dud. They replace guys. They don't overpay guys. And if they do pay someone a lot like Wander Franco, they stretch that money out over time where it's a smart deal.
I don't get it, though, because as someone who doesn't follow baseball as closely, I know they don't spend. How can they be consistently smarter than everybody else? Well, are they like Bill Belichick and the Patriots back in the heyday? Are they just better baseball
Kevin
people?
Cash is one of the best managers in the sport. I don't think people give him enough credit just for like how baseball savvy he is, how much of a former baseball player turned manager he is. He just always has them in the right situation, and that's how you do more with less. Scouting. They just seem to always have these diamonds in the rough, these random guys that emerge, like Randy Arozarena, who I think a lot of people got more familiar with him playing for Team Mexico in the World Baseball Classic. But, I mean, if you didn't watch the 2020 World Series and the run that they made that season, like he burst on the scene then. Wander Franco, who I mentioned, they paid that young guy, and we've known about him for a long time. They're pitching. They're a pitching factory. They will take guys like Michael Wacha or Corey Kluber and later in their careers get the best out of them. They've developed their own pitching. They have Shane McClanahan and Tyler Glass now, and then they always have a stable of guys coming out of the bullpen throwing 98. They just are able to use their scouting department, their development of players, and just their analytical approach to winning. They're 10-0, and as a Yankees fan, seeing them in our division, I'm already thinking, here the Yankees go, giving up one-run games. They're going to be 5, 6, 7 games back of the Rays before you know it. But I can't be surprised because the Rays have owned the Yankees in recent time.
Well, I like him because I like this idea that the nerds are running sports. And that's my.
They got some smart nerds down there for sure.
Friedman is down in L.A. and all the nerds. So that makes me happy. But I actually admit I do miss something. I moved to New York City in the height of the Yankees dynasty with Jeter in the late 90s.
Yeah.
And there was something that was not just special in New York, for the whole world when, I hate to say it, the Yankees could, not that they bought that dynasty by any means because they were homegrown players, but there was some benefit to having the Yankees be really the dominant team in the sport. And I know they still are in some ways. Of course, we had Aaron Judge last year. But it's so different. You must have come of age and done nothing but won World Series when you were a kid. And your expectations must always be that. But do you miss that era of Yankee baseball?
Sure. That era of Yankees baseball brainwashed a lot of people my age, right?
Yeah.
Now those young kids that watch the Yankees dynasty, we're in our 30s, we're in our 40s, and there's no dynasty anymore. There's no trips to the World Series. This season will make it 14 years since the Yankees have been back to a World Series.
Yeah, I don't remember what happened in that last World Series. Who did they play again? What was that?
Can't spell Philly without 2 L's.
Hey, you know what? In today's world, they'd be invited to the White House, so I don't want to hear it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like that. Those guys back then.
That was
Ryan Howard.
Jimmy
Rollins.
Chase Utley.
Yeah, they had a good
they
squad.
Were way more like
Cliff Lee had an awesome performance against the Yankees. We wanted him to be a Yankee, but.
And you guys had A-Rod, who I was not a fan of, so I don't know how you feel about A-Rod.
Most of baseball wasn't. I hated that season when everybody threw at A-Rod. I had to watch the games get interrupted because everybody's got to throw the ball at A-Rod to, pay him back for a game where everyone was cheating. But with the Yankees, what I'll say is growing up, you just expected them to always get to the World Series or be in the postseason.
Yeah.
When they didn't make it or they didn't win it, it was kind of like confusing. Like, wait, they're not going to win? They have Jeter, they have Pettit, they have Mariano, they have Bernie Williams, whoever it is, Posada. But now, you know, they have some marquee names like Judge, like Garrett Cole, like Giancarlo Stanton. But they're just not able to put it together. And I think it's because they want to be like the Rays and be analytical at times and get away from what made them the New York Yankees, which was like, you have all of these resources, this huge fan base, all of this money to go out and buy the best players. Go out and buy the best players and play them every day. And don't worry so much about what the numbers say or trying to game the system. And I think that's what the Rays do very well. They're able to find these like marginal guys and turn them into stars, and they're able to get more with less. They don't have a lineup full of names that everyone knows, but they do have a productive lineup, and they definitely have the pitching.
I think that's one of the problems MLB's had in the last, I'm going to say 14 years. You know, it's well covered. The ratings have gone down, and it's not talked about nationally. I think that's in part because the Yankees are not the dominant team. I remember when I was on Dan Patrick's show, it's a random source, but Reggie Miller was a Yankees fan, and he always argued, he's like, when the Yankees are up, baseball is up. I would argue there's certain teams that are like that. The Lakers, Notre Dame football, Duke basketball, but I think the baseball is more dependent on the Yankees being dominant than really any other sport. They're the second biggest brand, MLB being the biggest brand than the Yankees. And I know so many Yankees fans in different cities. So I don't know what it means to have Tampa Bay having this incredible season right now.
It doesn't mean much.
I'm not sure it's going to help the sport, which is terrible because it's a great story, and it should help the sport.
Doesn't mean much. Tampa Bay barely has their own fans.
Is that right?
Yeah. In Tropicana Field, I think they've grown over time. But a lot of those fans, when the Yankees play, you hear "Let's go Yankees" chants because that's the spring training home of the Yankees down there in Tampa. They don't have a good ballpark. Tropicana Field is one of the worst ballparks in baseball. So it's not like them. If the Yankees started off 10-0, you would hear it on every single show. The New York Yankees, Aaron Judge, he's captain this year. But, you know, you've got Randy Arozarena, Wander Franco, Brandon Lowe, and Shane McClanahan leading these guys, and people aren't familiar with them. They don't know them. But I think baseball people are like, yeah, we're not surprised that Tampa Bay is winning games in the style that they're doing it. They won, I think, 1-0 last night, and they're going to win some games like that.
Yeah.
A couple nights ago, they won 11-0. They just find ways to win, and their approach is their own. And, I mean, them being in the division with the Yankees, am I worried about them? Yeah, but no more worried about them than I was in, like, 2021 when they came to Yankee Stadium and the Yankees had to win the series to potentially host a wild card game. They were already checked out, done. They were already locked up number 1 seed, and the Yankees had to walk off the very last Sunday game to even get into the wild card against the Red Sox. They've had the Yankees numbers for a while. I say they're way too comfortable in Yankee Stadium. The Rays are in Yankee Stadium, kick back, feet up. Like there's no fan element as far as like the Bronx Zoo or home field advantage like that. When the Rays come, they're comfortable in the Bronx.
Well, the Phillies killed the Rays in the World Series, so I do have that.
That does count for something.
That does count for
2008?
something. 2008? Real quick, what grade do you give the pitch clock so far?
An A.
Okay, I thought you were going to say A+, because I haven't talked to one person who doesn't like it.
I go to games. We're in and out of those games. I watched the game last night, and I had to come into work. And I look up, it's the 7th inning. I'm like, I got to get my bag together. It's just moving everything along, and it doesn't get stagnant. And the thing about baseball, people say baseball is boring because there's, the in-between of fixing your gloves and all this other stuff. The pitch clock has added urgency to the game and a pace to the game that was already there years ago and needed to come back. I don't even notice the clock. I know some, broadcasts have played with the clock where you can see it in different places or whatever. I don't even notice the clock. I know that we're getting in and out of the ballpark faster, and these games are closer to like an NBA game, which is 2.5 hours.
I have to admit, you sometimes stress me out because I know you're at the game, and then you have to do your show.
I stress you out. Imagine how Spike and some of the producers, E-Man knows. There's literally been times where I'm like, hey, I'm 15 minutes away.
Yeah, so how does this work exactly?
So I've always gone to games. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would know me if I wasn't who I was before I stepped into WFAN, which was, when I was unemployed, I had plenty of time to go to the game and shoot content and make vlogs and make videos. And I would go to 40, 50 games a year. That was like my goal. Like go to, if there's 81 home games, I'm at least one game every homestand, usually two. So then when I started at WFAN last year, I remember coming in saying, I got to do the, night show after every Yankee game. I'm not going to be able to get to the stadium as much. But I figured it out. Like, I still went to just as many games last year. And what I do last year before the pitch clock, and now this year I'm stepping out for paternity leave, so it's fine. But I would sometimes, like, I remember the Royals game, Judge walked it off, and I'm 1 foot out the door in the Great Hall watching on the screen. Judge hits the home run to walk us off. I'm running to the parking lot. I'm getting in the car to beat traffic and drive from the Bronx to Tribeca. It's like a 30, 35-minute ride. I had it timed up. John and Susan will wrap up for like 5-10 minutes. Sweeney Murdy's postgame was always like 45 minutes. I had about an hour from the last pitch till my show to drive downtown, get set up. So the drive was like 35 minutes. And then that would give me 20, 25 minutes to make sure I knew what went on. And I just was at the game. I know exactly what went on.
Wait, and this always worked?
I never missed a show or was never late. Last year, it worked fine for me.
Well, of course, next year and this year, you have a kid coming up. So you're
now
all
I think
sorts
I'm
of
done.
others. You're going to be running from the diaper stand to the car. It's going to be a much different situation. It's going to be great, dude. Don't worry about it. All right, coming up, Draymond Green calls out another player. No surprise there. But this time, I agree with him, and I think you might too. We'll talk about that next, coming up here on Maggie and Perloff. But first, here is a sports update from Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
And it's brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. Bundle today at progressive.com. The NBA postseason begins tonight with the play-in tournament. The headliner in the West, where the proud Lakers enter tonight, winners of 9 of 11. They host the dysfunctional Timberwolves, who won't have Rudy Gobert. The veteran big man was suspended for a game for an altercation with Kyle Anderson. Head coach Chris Finch hates to be in this spot, but said something had to be done.
Certainly not something that we condone. I mean, veterans can get upset too, so I don't, want to be too hard on them. But obviously, it's not something we're going to be able to tolerate here.
Jaden McDaniels is also out after the forward punched a wall in frustration and broke his hand. Through all of this, Minnesota finished with wins in 7 of 10. In the East, the Heat host the Hawks. Miami eliminated Atlanta from last year's playoffs and won the season series 3-1. Duke's Kyle Filipowski is returning to school. The Lions are reportedly sending former third-pick overall Jeff Okudah to the Falcons for a fifth-round draft choice. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Nighttime is the right time for you to listen to the all-new JR Sport Brief, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by the Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the Armed Forces, DoD, veterans, and their families. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. All right, this week's Navy Federal Defensive Player of the Week. So there's not a lot of choices, Keith. I'm sitting here with Keith McPherson, filling in for Maggie today. Now, this is your first Defensive Player of the Week, and Stu is a mad genius at this. Mad genius. But he doesn't have a lot of choices. The NCAA tournament's over. There's no football. Baseball is hard to do a Defensive Player of the Week. So it's got to be NBA. But nobody's playing any defense in the NBA right now, especially in the final week. I don't know if you watched on Sunday.
No, it was terrible.
Insane scores. So I'll let you go first because I am grasping for a Defensive Player of the Week.
I'm trying to think who even played this weekend because they're all backups. Like, I was trying to put in a same game parlay, and I'm like, who are some of these guys? I don't know.
Okay, I got one.
Did Jaren Jackson Jr. get some minutes? Because he's probably going to be Defensive Player of the Year.
I think Stu is a Lakers fan. and the Lakers are hot, I think he went Jared Vanderbilt, who's playing just tough interior defense for the Lakers. What do you got, Stu?
Well, it is a Laker.
Oh,
well, you knew something.
It is Anthony Davis, who in Sunday's 128-117 win over the Jazz, AD had 13 rebounds, 4 blocked shots, and 3 steals.
Oh, that's not bad.
Okay.
That's the thing about Anthony Davis. If he wanted to, he could just be a menace defensively. So
Tonight's a good night for him to try and do that.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Keith. Usually I pick Rudy Gobert when I have no one else to pick. But this is not the week that I was picking Rudy Gobert. Of course, he
was certainly on the defensive.
yeah. The defensive player of the week because he's the most defensive. If you haven't heard, Rudy Gobert, I don't know how you describe it, punched a teammate in the chest this weekend and will not be playing for Minnesota tonight in the play-in tournament against the Lakers. I am not a huge Rudy Gobert fan. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not just that he seems somewhat obnoxious and he's French. He also, his style of play, 7-4 Defensive Player of the Year, and yet there were times when the Jazz had to take him off the court defensively because if you get a Devin Booker switched onto him, it's lights out. You cannot pull him out to the perimeter.
Right.
Always thought he was a little overrated. Did not understand that trade. I know you hated that trade.
Worst trade of all time. We were going over it. I could not actually I'm shaking thinking about how did they allow this? I know A-Rod owns the Timberwolves, but was A-Rod the one that looked this over and said, "Yeah, we're good to go"? I have it in front of me. I always like to bring it up.
Yeah,
I literally have it saved.
Well, what are the terms? I don't remember. I know they were bad.
Minnesota gets just Rudy Gobert.
Okay.
The Jazz get Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverly, Leandro Bomaro, Walker Kessler, who balled this year, Jared Vanderbilt, who you were just speaking of. 5 players. And on top of 5 players, they get 5 picks. A 2023, this year's draft coming up in June, first-round pick. 2025, first-round pick. Pick swap in 2026. First-round picks in 27 and 29. Why?
Well, I think I know why they did it. Because Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, their young stars, are so talented offensively. But they're really not great on defense, so they thought
it's Rudy Gobert.
But they thought Gobert would make up for their deficiency on defense, so you'd have these 2 great offensive players and then this great defensive player. But that's not how the NBA works.
The Knicks wouldn't give up half of that for Donovan Mitchell. This trade messed up the KD trade. I know Nets fans were saying, what do we have to, what are we going to get? What do we have to ask for KD? Like if Rudy Gobert gets all of this, they might have to throw in, they almost threw in France for Rudy Gobert. They might have to throw in PG County for KD. It just, I don't know. I think they got completely fleeced. And now that he's not playing tonight, if their season ends the first year with Rudy Gobert, he punched his way out of the play-in, punched his ticket out.
So
worst trade in NBA history if they lose tonight and he doesn't return, and that's the end of his first year with the Timberwolves.
So he punched Kyle Anderson, who apparently had been calling him out all game, his teammate, who said, Rudy Gobert said his back was hurt and it was unfair to call him out, which is, I don't know, if someone's calling you out, if a teammate's saying you're not putting in enough effort, you can't say my back hurts.
Right, you're playing, you're active.
Yeah,
this is the NBA. That. Guys sit all the time.
You're making $50 million a year.
We're already locked into the AC.
So Draymond Green, of course, is usually not afraid to share his opinion, and he usually doesn't like opposing players. So I don't think his take on Rudy Gobert is exactly surprising, but it is entertaining. Let's hear Draymond Green on Rudy Gobert.
When I saw the choice words, that is the bitch word, Kyle Anderson using towards Rudy Gobert, you do have to be ready with what comes with that. Like, you're just not allowed to just disrespect guys and say what you want to say. Kyle Anderson uttered some words to Rudy Gobert that a lot of people thinks. He said it. He said what a lot of people thinks. I personally think Rudy Gobert is a little on the softer side myself.
Oh, boy. I think he's a little bit on the softer side myself. By the way, I didn't know thought we were going to beep that out, but that's no big deal.
No, the B word is a full go from what I know.
It's a full go. And
I don't use it. I'm not very good at using the curse words we're allowed to use on air.
Yeah, but you never know.
And yeah, I remember C-Mac is doesn't it make you feel dirty? Like if you take a step into that, you're going to take a step too far. I'm like, yeah, I'd rather just play it safe.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so he used I'm going to say the B word. Is that okay, B word? That sounds so lame, but I'm going to say.
You have children, it's fine.
Yeah, so, okay, if your teammate calls you that, is that enough reason to punch him? And also, when you punch a guy in the chest on a basketball court, you're kind of saying, I don't really want to fight. I kind of want to pretend I'm fighting. But I don't know. I think if we liked Rudy Gobert, we could probably make a case for him that maybe Kyle Anderson deserved to get punched.
I think, you got to think about where these guys are from. France and North Bergen, New Jersey. Kyle Anderson, slow-mo, is from 070 territory. I used to live in North Bergen. I lived a year right behind the high school. He didn't go to that high school because he's a basketball player. Forget what private school in New Jersey he went to. But he's tough. When you hear him talk, he's not taking any stuff from anybody. So I think the B word, though, just amongst, I guess, athletes and alpha males, you can't call me the B word. That's attacking my manhood. I push you. And we'll see. Like, Rudy Gobert's huge. If he wanted to actually try and do something, he could have. It's just, like you said, it's one of those NBA things. I know we're being watched by everyone in the arena. I know this is on camera. You disrespected me in the moment. I lost my cool. I overreacted, but I didn't really take it that far. We've seen guys take it too far.
Absolutely. We've seen Draymond Green in an incident with his own
in
team.
Practice.
Took it way too far.
When no one was watching, so we thought.
And that was a real
eye in the
punch.
sky don't lie. That was
a real punch.
Yeah, that was a knockout punch.
Can you imagine trying to take on Rudy Gobert, what his reach must be if trying to get around his jab?
He reached through, I think, 2 guys.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I don't know if when you play basketball, have you ever had a 7-footer cover you or switched onto a 7-footer?
No, but I've had some tall guys. I just played in a Hoboken rec league. I'll never play again because they were too serious.
I hate that.
I got subbed in last minute, and I didn't know what I was walking into, and I find out this is the semifinals to go to the championship. I'm like, I haven't hooped in long enough.
And they're going to argue with the refs, and it's going to be ugly, right?
Me at 6'2", I'm one of the taller guys on our team. These guys come out. It's all guys that played college basketball.
Oh, no.
I get matched up on a 6'8" guy, which is barbecue chicken. You put the ball up there. He's got 1 or 2 moves. I can't get up there with him. So close enough.
We used to have a 7-footer in my Saturday morning run, and I got to tell you, you wanted him covering you. Because once he got away from the basket, he was so clunky that you could easily get around
He can only live in the paint.
Yeah. Hey, tell us why Kyle Anderson's called slow-mo. I sort of remember this, but I love that nickname.
It's his game. He's in slow motion. Watch him hoop. He does nothing fast. He does nothing quick twitch. He's been slow-mo from probably high school, but definitely the Spurs days. And, to this day, slow-mo is just what I think of when I see him play and whenever they go to him.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone knows him. Didn't he go to UCLA, right?
Yeah,
and
he
then
was highly touted.
Like sort of a number 20 pick or so for the Spurs. I remember him being 21 or 22. He looked like he was 45 and was the toughest dude on the court. And the Spurs were filled with tough guys. I never understood his game, but I always liked him. So,
yeah, I mean, he is effective, and he is a good player. 6'9". He came out of St. Anthony High School in Jersey City.
Oh, is that Bobby Hurley Sr.? Okay, so that's the famous high school.
That's the pedigree right there.
Yeah.
But he grew up in North Bergen. If there's any music people in there that know 070 Shake in the chat, I know we saw some people talking about the festivals. 070 Shake went to high school, I believe, with Kyle Anderson. Those kids all ran together. 070 Shake got signed by Kanye West. She performed at Coachella a couple years back. I think she might be on the lineup this year.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about the music festivals next hour, but you definitely have to educate me because I have not been to Coachella, and honestly, the whole thought of it terrifies me. And, of course, you were about to be a father, so you were not. Is it this weekend? This weekend?
I think it's going to happen between tomorrow and Friday. I think by this weekend I'm in the hotel streaming Coachella.
Oh, actually, I was asking when Coachella was.
Oh, I think you're talking about the baby. Coachella starts Friday. The first weekend of Coachella starts Friday.
Your priorities have already changed. So this is so funny.
I should be there. Yeah.
I'm just picturing you in the hospital room. A buddy is going to text you saying, are you watching this Nets Sixers game 1 o'clock on Saturday? Oh, did you see that?
No, I'm going to be
perform at Coachella.
Watching the live stream of some indie artists at Coachella, opening up.
Oh, yeah.
3-hour time difference on the small stage.
Well, or you're going to be panicking. What do I do with this little thing in my head? What the heck am I supposed to do?
I don't think they require me to do much at first.
You think that?
In the hospital, I'll have to hold the baby, take a couple pictures. But other than that,
Keith.
There's a few nurses involved, doctors involved. What do they need me to do with the baby? My job kicks in once we drive away. That's when I'm worried.
No.
It's once we get to my apartment and it's my wife and I.
Yeah, that's impossible. Then there's nothing to prepare you for it. But I'm telling you, in the hospital, you're going to have to take care of your wife. And that sounds, it's way harder than you think.
No, I'm already taking care of her. That's why I want to get to the finish line, because I'm like, she can't go through another week of this.
All right. And meanwhile, we do have a play-in tournament tonight. You know that teams that are in the play-in tournament are 0-9 in their next series. That's not good. But all that is about to change. There is a play-in team that is going to the Western Conference Final. Stick around. We're going to talk about it right here on the Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
With Russell Wilson, my bar is pretty high for weirdness. Like, this just feels like a Tuesday for Russell Wilson. It's so funny because he's so straight-laced, but then he has the most bizarre little social media things you'll ever see.
That's what I want to know about Russell's marketing. What's the angle? What's the philosophy we're going for with this guy?
I'm unlimited. He's got that self-help vibe. You know how Tony Robbins comes off as kind of creepy?
That's the lane he's trying to go in?
That's the lane we're in right now.
Wow. I'm embarrassed for him.
Be careful, though. Yeah.
It's like Wedding Crashers, and she's like, I'll find you. Remember that?
Yeah. Be careful, though.
Are we doing serial killer? That's what's going to sell the sandwiches? Because spicy. Why? Because it's spicy?
It's spicy.
What a stone cold weirdo that guy is.
Unlimited. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Hour 3 here on Maggie and Perloff. Maggie is on vacation, and Keith McPherson for WFAN in New York is filling in. He's educating me on many things, including music festivals, which we'll get to in a moment. But I'm trying to educate him on why my Lakers bet is going to pay off. Starting tonight, Lakers, Timberwolves. I feel like you're not as bullish on the Lakers with me. I feel like you were just being nice when I started talking about the Lakers having a real shot here. I noticed you didn't quite buy it.
Because there's so much hype. Like, just don't believe the hype. There's always so much hype. I can't buy into it. I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns and Ant-Man could go out there tonight and knock them out. I know everybody's looking at them without McDaniels breaking his hand, without Gobert is like, oh, they're not going to be able to beat the Lakers. And it's LeBron. So anything with LeBron is going to be bigger and more talked about and more anticipated. But, like, we'll see when they roll the ball out. We'll see if this is really an 8.5 spread on this game tonight. They're expecting the Lakers to roll right through the Timberwolves.
And not only that, the Lakers are fourth in the West as far as odds to get out of the conference and win the NBA title, which is still pretty high.
They think this is 10 years ago, LeBron.
So am I a victim? I hate getting sucked up into the hype. I want to be that guy, and I've avoided that with the Lakers in the past. You know, Maggie's more of a LeBron guy. We debate LeBron versus Jordan a lot. Of course, you know, based on my age, of course I'm a Jordan guy.
Sure.
Maggie's a LeBron guy.
I'm both.
I totally respect that. But here's the thing. I don't want to be just falling for this hype. But you believe that the NBA can push certain teams to the finals. And I kind of think there's a little bit to that. I think everybody wants to see LeBron do it this year. And I think, believe it or not, and Stu's a Lakers fan, they actually might have the pieces around him to do something in the West this year. In this year, because it's so wide open. I think the best three teams are probably Phoenix, Golden State, and Denver. You know, they could knock each other off before they see the Lakers. Who knows? The Lakers could have a path.
There's just always talk about chemistry and continuity and teams gelling. And, oh, well, when you get to the playoffs, the teams that have been battle tested and have had the most reps and experience together are the teams that are still standing at the end.
Yeah.
The Lakers, LeBron's been hurt. And this is a new cast of characters since the trade deadline. Yeah, they were able to win, I think, 9 out of 11 games. And they pushed to be the 7th seed. But things change when LeBron gets on the floor. Things change when it's LeBron and AD. Like, I don't know. This could be a frustrating game for them tonight. I don't think it's a cakewalk, but I think the hype tells you it's LeBron, it's the Lakers. Of course they're going to beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're down. And like LeBron, look at the West, like you just said. It's so easy to fall into the hype. There's no clear-cut favorite in the West. Why can't LeBron, who's done it so many years, do it again at age 38, going on 39, the Wash King? I don't know. Let's see it. That's why we're all going to watch. And this is part of the NBA machine. They want you to watch, and part of you watching is thinking that the Lakers have a chance to go on a run. Didn't you just say before break that the teams that have come out of the play-in are 0-9? Like
0-9, yeah.
They're not going anywhere.
Well, first of all, I don't even know what you're talking about with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I've already have them beating the Grizzlies in 6 games. I'm already scouting the Lakers Suns Western Conference Finals. It never even dawned on me that they're going to lose to the Timberwolves, although I do absolutely love Anthony Edwards. By the way, in the background, there's this TV commercial with LeBron for Tonal. When we started the show, I had to take, is LeBron a little bit chubby in this commercial? Just a little bit.
He was probably hurt and not working out. No.
All right, you missed the opening shot. He has a little bit of a belly. He showed his 38-year-old body. That take made Maggie so mad. But I do feel the interesting thing is I saw LeBron play the other day. He's ferocious right now. He doesn't have an ounce of body fat on him. He looks like he's 28. It's not a long playoff run. You know what? It doesn't need a full season here. He said they've had 4 or 5 seasons in one this year. So they're learning how to play with each other. Once it starts to roll and they figure out the roles, you're right, it becomes different when it's the playoffs and LeBron and Anthony Davis are on there. But I think LeBron's going to get to know these guys, and the more playoff games they play, I think they're going to be a better team by the Western Conference Finals, which I already have them penciled into.
One at a time. They got to win.
Minnesota.
They gotta win.
What are you talking about, Minnesota?
If they lose tonight, then they got another playing game to play. I don't know. I just can't. I can't be suckered into the name game and the hype train because of the franchise and because this is the GOAT, and I got to see it, man. He can be beat. I've seen him be defeated before.
Okay. How about Anthony Davis playing like this? Well,
now that's the other thing, right? It's supposed to be more of Anthony Davis's team.
Yep.
It's supposed to be led by AD.
It has been lately.
And lately it has been. And if they're both healthy right now, yep, in theory, you expect them to go out there and handle business. Right. I just can't put money on them to make a run. I don't think they're getting past the Grizzlies, even if they do win tonight.
Oh,
the Grizzlies have a. Do you remember when Desmond Bane was chirping at LeBron, and I guess it crossed the line of trash talk where LeBron took it as disrespect, and he kind of stepped to him like, "Hey, watch your mouth, watch what you're saying." And Desmond Bane kind of shrugged him off, and John Morant like stepped in like, chill, Bron, and then like the next play, LeBron like comes down, tomahawk dunks it. There's a little smoke in that rivalry. I'm ready to see it. I hope they win. I'm just not getting on the hype train to say that this is a team that can make it to the Western Conference Finals, let alone the finals.
All right, give us a call, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Is anyone out there with me on this Lakers train, already looking way past the Timberwolves? Desmond Bane. Come on. You're telling me Desmond Bane is going to knock out LeBron James? Could be, actually. Okay. Before the break, we were talking about concerts and festivals. Now, you are an aficionado, I would say, of these. You usually go to Coachella. You've been to Lollapalooza. You've been to all the big ones. I am terrified of large crowds. Would I enjoy this weekend's Coachella?
No. Coachella is the granddaddy of them all. It's 125,000 people from all over the world descending on Coachella, California. People also don't know that. Like, Coachella is a city out there right next to Indio, and it's amazing. I mean, I think a lot of people in America see the clips on social media, and they think it's like a influencer fest with a bunch of people in, like, costumes and, like
neon bracelets and things. Yeah.
It's more than that. I think that when I first went into it, I didn't know what to expect. There's a lot of brands and businesses that throw parties out there, networking type of stuff. There's pool parties. I remember I went to the Adidas Wish You Were Here party where you couldn't have your phone. They locked your phone up in a thing. Yes, you wouldn't be able to.
No,
you wouldn't be able to spend 3 hours at a pool party without your phone. Trey Young was there. Who else was there of like sports prominence?
Wait, and do you go shirtless at this party?
I do, yeah. Of course.
See, I'm out. I'm beyond out. I'm so far. And what if I show up and I'm not shirtless? Would I stand out?
it's a pool party, and people are like, there's like a beach and a pool and like a volleyball court, and like it's 90 degrees.
First of all, you're about to be a dad, so we'll see if you're going shirtless in about a year to this party.
I'm gonna keep the physique.
Oh, you say that. You say that.
Honestly, I have to.
Look at these arms. Are you telling me that I'm going to get shirtless? People, I could blind people. I'm going to blind celebrities.
That sun is strong. You would need some sunscreen as well.
It's in the desert. So.
Now, the thing about Coachella, though, is I feel like you can meet so many different random people from different walks of life. And then if you're a music guy like I am, it's one place where you could pay one rate and see so many different acts and artists so that you can say forever, oh, yeah, I saw them. Oh, yeah, I saw him. I saw her in one weekend.
So, here are the headliners. Bad Bunny, Blackpink, and Frank Ocean. Have you seen A&M?
I've seen Blackpink at their first Coachella in 2019. And they're global. They're huge. If you don't know who Blackpink is, I don't know what to tell you. Google them, look them up. They had a Netflix show. They are like the top girl group in the world. Bad Bunny, he came to Yankee Stadium. I could have went to see him. I'm not too big on Bad Bunny song. I don't know the word. I literally don't know what the words mean on top of not knowing the words.
But I feel like he's the biggest act this year.
He is, and he's going to shake that place. I remember Cardi B playing Coachella when I went in 2018. And she did her song with Bad Bunny, and it was like 100,000 people, a sea of people dancing.
I remember I met Cardi B at the Eagles celebration party she performed. But I'm an Eagles fan, and I do celebrate. I'm old enough to remember celebrating Super Bowls. You don't know anything about that as a Cowboys fan. A couple other bands
I was
here.
In the third grade, second grade.
I just wanted to point that out that we won one more recently.
96, I was in the second grade. I remember that.
Are there any sort of middle-aged people's bands here? I see Bjork's on here. I know her. I see, let's see, Blondie, Old School is on there. What happened to all the indie rock bands from the 2005 era? Where
so it evolved, and there actually is a documentary on how like Coachella evolved from being more like indie rock bands to kind of like, I mean, streaming took over and YouTube took over, and now they're booking the artists that have the most TikTok reels and the most TikTok views. It's now just a collection of up and coming artists, and I feel like a lot of artists they like break at Coachella. It's funny. Really? I was mentioning 070 Shake, who went to the same high school or grew up in the same area, not the same high school as Slow-Mo Kyle Anderson. She's back at Coachella. She's one of the first names on the lineup. From the Bronx, A Boogie with the Hoodie. I think this will be his first one. I remember like Lizzo played before she was really big. Dua Lipa played before she was really big. Like, it's a place where you can go and perform for a weekend, 2 weekends, because it's 2 weekends, and leave with a lot more streams and a lot more fans.
What about the other festivals? Lollapalooza, do they have different philosophies of the acts?
Yes, they're all completely different. So, like, Lollapalooza is in Grant Park in Chicago. Yeah. It's literally in the middle of the city. It's a spectacle because you've got the backdrop of Chicago's skyline hanging over you as Travis Scott is raging. And then when the festival ends at night, people just walk into the city and go into clubs and bars, and then usually the acts that play Lollapalooza are performing at a bar or a club, and you got to have a ticket or something to get in. It's crazy. Lollapalooza
that sounds a little
is
like
great.
South by Southwest, where
I've never done South by Southwest. Okay. My sister has. I've never gone to Austin. I've never gone to South by Southwest, but probably similar to Lollapalooza. I've done Electric Daisy Carnival, EDC, which is EDM, dance music, DJs. That's more neon glow sticks and lights that crowd. What else have I? Oh, Bonnaroo. Bonnaroo is different than all of them. Shout out to anyone in the chat from Tennessee, anyone that's ever driven through Manchester, Tennessee. Bonnaroo, it's a camping event. Are you familiar with the band Fish?
Oh, yeah. I don't go to Fish shows, but
I don't go to Fish shows either, but I went to my first one at Bonnaroo, and I was like, oh, this is different. This is interesting, and they play like every night out there.
A few clouds in the air of some smoke, maybe?
Standard the whole time. It's they call it the farm in Tennessee, and it's literally like this huge farmland when you drive in, and people have trailers, and people have tents, and they camp out, and they don't shower for 4 days, and they just listen to music, eat, and smoke weed and have a good time.
The one that I know most intimately that I've actually never been to is Made in America in Philadelphia, because I've had to drive around it about 1,000 times. It takes up the entire city, and it looks great. again, I do not love huge crowds, so I have not gone. Is that on your list?
It's not on my list, but I've thought about going in the past. It's just that it's on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
And I usually, Labor Day weekend, I've had a wild enough summer. I'm taking it easy as we've hit September. We're going into week 1 of the NFL. I can't rage that whole weekend. But, I mean, that's a good American festival. I've never been to any festivals outside of the United States. I think Coachella is the number one. I'd put Lollapalooza right behind that, Bonnaroo right behind that. My sister's been to Bottle Rock. I was supposed to go out there and haven't gone. But, yeah, I used to really run through these festivals as a way to see multiple artists at once and to take, like, vacations or trips. They're, like, once-in-a-lifetime events for me. I think I'm washed now. I'm out of the game.
Yeah, you're gonna
I'm
be
glad
a dad.
that I went.
You're going to be dad this week. So I would probably put all these plans in. I would end up going to the next Fire Fest would be what a Perloff move would be, most likely.
No, that was terrible. I remember when I was at MTV working when that came across my screen. Kylie Jenner promoting it, all these people promoting it. And then when it went south, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't, go to their pre-sale and get a ticket for something like this. That was a scam, obviously.
Well, you know where I want to go next, of course, is L.A. for the Lakers victory parade after they've run through the playoffs. But I'm seeing some callers don't agree. You can call us 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Let's go to Chris in Texas to weigh in on the Lakers. Chris, what do you think? Lakers going all the way? Chris, you there, buddy? All right. See, Chris was going to say the Lakers are not going far. I don't want to hear it today. I don't want to hear it.
And you didn't have to.
I didn't have to.
He thought twice about it.
But I honestly, the way you're looking at me when I say the Lakers are going all the way, I feel like it's pity. It's pity that I am falling to the hype. My buddy Chris Mannix at Sports Illustrated wrote a column last week. He argued vehemently, and he is not a Lakers guy. He's a Celtics guy, works for the Celtics, that the Lakers are coming out of the West. We all have to get used to it because now they have defense. They have defensive pieces around LeBron and AD. Now, I think that might be a little strong. I still think it's a big toss-up in the West.
It's too
late. They have a chance.
I guess they have a chance. They have a fighting chance with the greatest of all time, with AD, whatever. But I just feel like it's too late. The teams that advance are the teams, cohesive teams. Like last year, the Warriors, they've played a ton of games together. The Celtics, they've played a ton of games together. That experience plays when you get deeper into the playoffs because it isn't just about AD and LeBron. It's about the role players. It's about the bench guys, and that can swing a game for you.
Yeah. Then again, LeBron. That's my counter.
Then again, LeBron
and AD.
Bron. You can't stop LeBron, or can you? Father Time might.
All right, coming up, I have an NFL draft story that I absolutely love. A dude put on 10 pounds in one meal. It's an all-you-can-eat meat fest. I want to do it. And now, listen, you're trying to keep your physique as a dad, so you can't do it. But I am all in, and I love this guy. That's coming up next, right here on the Maggie and Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We're back on the Maggie and Perloff show. Keith McPherson is sitting in for Maggie, who is lost somewhere in Mexico. Well, actually, I don't know if she's lost. I'm just assuming she's lost in the best possible way. So Nick West on Twitter, you can tweet us at Maggie and Pearl, or you can tweet Keith _McPherson, or me at Andrew Perloff. Let LeBron mess around and find out. Lakers lose tonight, and the GOAT argument is over. MJ would never lose a play-in game. LOL, NBA. That's probably true. Although MJ with the Wizards probably would have lost a play-in game, Keith.
This play-in tournament, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's
KD and Kyrie survived the play-in tournament last year to be swept in 4 games by the Celtics. I would have rather them lose.
Yeah, the play-in is kind of weird. It's almost a little bit like winning the Summer League. I'm not so into it, but I'm going to be into it tonight. The Lakers play the T-Wolves 8.5-point spread right now.
8.5 on FanDuel, yeah.
Oh, boy. Okay. Let's turn our attention to the NFL draft. Do you like to eat, Keith?
I think everyone has to enjoy eating and likes to eat.
Now, do you like to overeat? Now, you know, I famously here did the peanut butter challenge. I ate a jar and a half of peanut butter. Was sick for about 3 weeks. I didn't share any of the details over the air because you did not want them. They were gnarly. But I read the other day about 5 NFL draft prospects, all linemen, who did an all-you-can-eat meat buffet in a competition to see who could gain the most weight in one meal. You don't look like you would be interested in this.
Nah, that's gross. These meat sweats. No.
These are actually some high-profile offensive linemen. Peter Skoronski, who could go top 10 out of Northwestern, a guy out of TCU, Maryland, Michigan, and Old Dominion. So the winner gained 9.5 pounds in one sitting of eating meat.
That's OD. That's ridiculous.
Another guy, Peter Skoronski, who's the big-time prospect, gained 6.5 pounds. Jalen Duncan out of Maryland gained 6. Another guy gained 5. A guy named Steve Avila out of TCU gained 0. He ate all the meat he could eat and gained 0 pounds, which I don't understand either.
Fast
I would
metabolism.
do this. Keith, I would do this.
I wouldn't do it. I'm not interested in it. It's gluttonous. It's greedy. It can't be good for your health.
These are offensive linemen in the NFL. That's what they do. They weigh 340
they're
pounds.
carnivores. It's nothing for them to rip through. It's just gross to think about.
Well, if I had to do an all-you-can-eat of any food of choice, for me, it would be proteins. I've never gone Atkins
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter, protein. I could go all meat all the time. I don't need really carbs.
So I actually have gone meatless for a little while.
Really?
So my wife went gluten-free, meatless, and I tried it with her.
How long you last?
Probably did a solid month of it, but then I just started to go less meat instead of meatless.
Okay.
But now there's so many Beyond Meat products, Impossible Meat products, Impossible Nuggets, ground beef, sausage, everything you can think of. Even steak now, they're making like imitation versions of it. And I know, like, someone like yourself that's down to eat this much meat, that doesn't interest you at all. You don't want fake vegetable burgers and.
I think this might be the wrong bias for me. I've never really had too much incredible meat.
Yeah.
It sounds artificial, like it would taste artificial. How does it taste?
I think it's an acquired taste. At first, you can obviously tell, but after you eat it enough times, you can kind of trick yourself. I've had it in I've had it in tacos. I've had it in meat sauce. I've had meatballs, all with this Beyond Meat. We used to buy like ground beef, then we bought ground turkey, and then we graduated to buying like Impossible Meat, Beyond Meat, and using that instead. There was a while where I was eating Beyond Burgers every week, like multiple times a week, instead of actual burgers. I think it helps you with something. My wife is probably listening. She knows exactly what it does to cut meat, like red meat, out of your diet. But she did it for a little while. We are shopping for the same groceries, living in the same house. I'm like, I'll do it as well. But then I went back to eating like, it's tough to like not eat like cold cuts. Like I'll go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
I'm going to get some turkey. I'm going to get some cheese. I'm going to get stuff to make a wrapper sandwich. It's tough to like not have like chicken nuggets or chicken wings.
Wait, so.
Especially watching sports, you go somewhere you're not going to have some wings.
You have to.
You have to. It's part of it.
It's guy code. So is part of this for environmental reasons or health reasons? What is some of the impetus?
I think it's a mix of both.
Yeah.
I want to say around 2020, like around the pandemic time, right before that, we just started experimenting with different things like tofu and I forget what else we tried, just to go meatless for health reasons and just for the earth. I forget. You know what it is? I think I watched something on Netflix about like what they do to like the cows and the
Netflix
chickens during the quarantine time when you were watching anything you could watch. And now it's coming back to me. I saw some of the abuse of the animals and I'm like, I don't want to eat that.
No.
Like now it's changed my perception of like having a chicken breast cooked on my plate, thinking about what the process was, I don't know, a year ago to get it to here. And I opted out for a little while.
Ah, dude, now you're ruining my experience. I'm all excited about this
I'll
guy
send you a link to this
getting
Netflix.
9 pounds. No, I don't want that link. You keep that link to that Netflix special. I want nothing to do with this. Okay, you're going to be a dad. You're going to have to worry about the dad bod. Have you ever tried the big trend now, fasting? You ever?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so, I mean, the one time I fasted, I had a friend of mine that was practicing, like, Ramadan.
Okay.
And
so you can only eat at night, right?
Yeah, so we ended up hanging out for the day, and he tagged along with me to a DJ event, and he's like, I'll come to your DJ event if you agree to fast with me from the time I show up to your house that morning until we're eating at the party that night. And the amount of, like, starvation that I felt, I'm like, I'm never doing that again. Because then I ended up being sick. I think I downed, like, 8 beers and, like, 3 barbecue plates after not eating from sundown the night before to sundown the next day.
That's not even that long, Keith.
That's a long time.
That's from sundown.
I felt like I was torturing myself. By the time I got food in my system, it was like such a shock and relief that I actually could eat.
I have a lot of friends who do this intermittent fasting. So they only eat from about 1 to 8 o'clock. And actually, the only thing I've learned from them, I've not done that, but I try to eat dinner early because I think you don't have to be a nutritional expert to know, chowing down at 11:30 at night is not good. So I try and eat dinner early and then make that my last meal.
Yeah. And try not to have like little chips or sweets
surprised.
or snacks.
And this is a really popular thing. I think a lot of guys do it. They probably don't admit it, is cut down the number of meals.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of guys are doing that because then they don't have to go to the gym. I just go to the gym. I go and lift and I work out and I run and I do cardio and stuff like that. So I don't need to intermittently fast.
It's hard to say.
Intermittently fast. I don't feel like I need to miss any meals. I mean, even today, I was sitting in the room with you guys. I had a turkey wrap. I had a cheese wrap. I just knocked those down before the show because I'm like, I'm not going to eat until 7 o'clock. But I don't need to go have Shake Shack or Chipotle or one of these spots out here. You know all the spots out here probably.
I'm down for both of those.
Westville.
If you want to go. So, first of all, did you make that wrap that you ate today at home by yourself?
Yeah.
Nobody makes a wrap.
I'm professional.
That wrap looked like it was tightly rolled as if you bought it at
I have
a store.
a lot of practice. I buy the wraps in the deli, and they're big wraps. I also at the deli get my cold cuts, turkey, ham, American cheese, whatever it is. And then I also ask them to, scoop the tuna fish salad.
Yeah.
So what I had in your office was a professional whole wheat wrap, turkey, cheese, lettuce, tomato, wrapped tightly. I know how to actually fold the corners and wrap it tight. And then I had a turkey one. Or a tuna one.
Stu, you were there. You saw this wrap.
I thought the same thing. It looked very, very appetizing and very well made. I'm pretty shocked that
practice.
It's homemade.
It's reps. And what happened today, I was running late on time, and I've wasted too much money gambling on March Madness and the start of the baseball season, and I'm like, I don't want to buy lunch in there today. I'm running tight on time anyway. I'm not going to have time to run out. What can I make real quick? Oh, a wrap. I have all the ingredients in here. I made a wrap, put an energy drink in there, and that was good enough for lunch today.
I did. I'm so jealous of you right now because I got a salad, but
from somewhere in New York.
Yeah,
for $15.
Yeah, and it got a seltzer and a salad. 1847. 1847. Don't look at me like that.
You could put 1847 on the Lakers to win and LeBron to score 25 points tonight.
I've made a heavy enough investment of my children's future into this year's Los Angeles Lakers. But, you bring lunch too, don't you?
Yes, I do. And dinner.
And he knows how to walk to Trader Joe's over there. Have you made the walk to Trader Joe's down there?
So I get off the subway, go straight to Trader Joe's.
Okay, cool.
In which case, I do buy. That's cheap. So that's acceptable, right? Because I could get a wrap for $5 there.
Yeah.
Not as good as your wrap, by the way.
Not as good.
And then
I've had them.
You could also buy a bag of salad, though, too. They have that.
Yeah, they have the pre-made salads in there.
I don't know.
But that's not going to hit the same as
but you get some cold cuts.
Where'd you get your salad from? Essen over there?
Sweet Greens.
Sweet Green.
And this salad had, first of all, it's technically a salad, but it had brown rice, feta cheese, chicken, almonds, apples, kale.
It was loaded.
It was loaded. It wasn't really a salad. It was more
loaded.
of a meal. And I walked away, and I got the bread, which I probably shouldn't do. But it did cost me a lot of money. I'm now inspired, but I don't think I can. You're going to have to teach me how to do that wrap thing because I don't think I can make the corners like that.
You got to tuck the corners as you're rolling the wrap.
Exactly.
Mac, you could do this?
I don't think I could do as well as Keith, but I could, I
got a lot of experience rolling things.
But also, I gotta let the crowd give the applause for that one first. You get the wrap, you could unwrap it and see how it's made, and then just practice.
I don't know. Okay, I like to eat at home. I often eat at home because I come in. Our show starts 3 p.m. Eastern. I like to make tuna fish on either a toasted English muffin or toasted wheat bread. But I don't love packing tuna fish in a bag.
see, I don't have this professional. And it's a big, sloppy tuna fish sandwich, and I'm eating in the office with Maggie. That's not going to work. I need this tight wrap like you got going.
I had it tightly wrapped, two of them in one. They fit in the Ziploc bag, and then I had my energy drink to keep it cold in my bag placed right on top of it.
What about back when you were playing college football? You must have eaten so much meat back then.
Well, that was different. I had, dining hall access.
Yeah.
That's different. They literally will have you train, and then they'll say, go eat, and you go to the dining hall, and you can get steak, you can get chicken, you can get whatever prepared for you right there. I never cooked anything in college, really.
So you could have done an all-you-can-eat meat buffet with me back then.
Back then, yeah. Back then, I was like 205, 200 pounds playing college football. I'm like 190, 195. No, actually, I'm like up to 200 with the dad weight now. But it's not the same as it was when it was all muscle, and you have to get that protein intake after lifting and workouts and practice.
Now, guess how much you think I weigh?
You're tall. I think you're 190.
190?
That's too much?
No, I'm 199.
I'm close.
Yeah. But I was going to say, in college, with all that free food.
His reaction was like I was off by like 20 pounds.
And way over.
No, I mean, listen, I'm skinny, but there's a lot of dad muscle on here, right here. No.
You just showed your arm. I'm like, I don't know if that arm gets any bigger.
That's a weak part of my arm. That's a forearm. Who's got big forearms? I'm not Popeye. No, I'm a legit 199.
Okay. Yeah, we're close in weight then. But I'm not as tall as you. I'm 6'1", 6'2".
I'd say in my heyday,
I actually was 199 on the scale this morning, and I was like, look at me.
What's your max bench press?
It's been a while. There's no bench press.
Don't try and avoid this topic, Keith.
There's no bench press in my apartment gym, so I couldn't tell you. My max bench press in college.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
275, one rep.
All right, you got me.
275, one rep.
You got me, and it isn't even close. Ack, what's your max? What do you max out?
I haven't benched in God knows how long.
Don't. There's no need to. Guys always ask, what can you bench, bro?
I know,
so what do you bench?
Probably go back to high school.
That is a cliche. I know, like that movie Boogie Nights. Hey, what do you bench? You go first.
Doesn't matter.
I know.
I know some guys that can bench a lot of weight. They can't fight. So it's like, what is that for? What does that do? And I'll take your word for it because I'll never be in the gym with you.
Yeah. Well, would you love to see Ack just trying to squat like 450 pounds?
I'm sure in his day he had to get it in at some point.
I got strong lower half.
Yeah, I think you're a pretty strong guy actually, but I don't.
That's right.
Guys like you and me, we don't need to be doing squats at the gym.
That's good for you.
All right. I don't know what we learned there. Did you see the ex-NFL lineman Russell Okung? I don't know if you guys saw this picture.
Yeah, he's a different man now.
Yeah, he's a lineman.
Half himself.
What happened there? Talking about different.
I don't know how that's
habits.
Possible.
It's like Joe Thomas with the Browns.
Jordan Gross. A lot of those guys.
Matt Burke, the
but
former
some people
Raven,
aren't able to put on that much weight, and some of these NFL linemen are able to put on that much mass. It would be crazy to see them shrink down.
I mean, all you need to know is the story we started with. A guy put on 9.5 pounds in one meal.
Yeah.
And you know what? He did that in draft season. Like, he wasn't embarrassed about that. He was bragging to the teams who, during the season, right, the NFL teams are worried the linemen are going to lose weight. So they like that. It's kind of gluttonous. Yeah, by the way, I want the Eagles to draft that guy, whoever he is. I think he's out of Old Dominion. I didn't know anything about him except he can put on weight in a hurry. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about a surprising hire in college football and why it may have an impact on next year's NFL draft. First, here is Mr. Squad himself, Rich Ackerman, with a sports update.
CBS Sports Flag.
Wear that title with great pride. Most of the playoffs matchups in the NBA are set. The two top teams in each conference are waiting on their opponents, and that'll be determined soon with the play-in tournament beginning tonight. The Heat host the Hawks in the East, and Miami had high expectations for this year. And though they're in this spot right now, head coach Eric Spoelstra grateful for an opportunity.
We're looking forward to it. You want to play as competitors. You want to have high stakes. You want to have games that have this kind of meaning, and we're ready to go.
The Heat took 3 of 4 in the regular season, in part because of their defense on Atlanta's Trae Young. The Lakers host the Timberwolves in the second part of the doubleheader. L.A. kicked it into high gear late in the season with the wins in 9 of the last 11. The Timberwolves will be without big man Rudy Gobert, who was suspended for a game for his punch on Kyle Anderson. Kyle Filipowski is returning to Duke for his sophomore year, and Jeff Okudah, the former third pick in the 2020 draft, reportedly headed to Atlanta with the Lions, getting a 5th-round round pick in return. The Rays, baseball's best team out of the gate with 10 straight wins. They look to remain unbeaten against the Red Sox tonight. Lumberjack.
CBS Sports Radio is everywhere. At home, in your car, and of course on your phone and tablet. Find us on your local affiliate, SiriusXM, Channel 158, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Wrap it up here on the Maggie and Perloff Show. Keith McPherson sitting in. So it's a big week. Keith is about to have a baby, which is funny because it seems like you are not a person who has any trouble with a bit of chaos in your life. Like you do not have to have big windows of time between events. Yeah, it feels like actually daily life as a host here at WFAN in New York and a gigantic sports fan can get somewhat stressful, which leads to our shot of the day.
He shoots!
Shot of the day, of course, brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it, including Maggie Gray, who is in Mexico right now drinking it, I am sure. Now, our shot of the day, Keith, I love how you calm and coolly stay to the end of the Yankees game and then get back for your show. I have to admit, you sometimes stress me out because I know you're at the game, and then you have to do your show.
I stress you out. Imagine how Spike and some of the producers, E-Man knows. There's literally been times where I'm like, hey, I'm 15 minutes away.
Yeah, so how does this work exactly?
So sometimes, like, I remember the Royals game, Judge walked it off, and I'm 1 foot out the door in the Great Hall watching on the screen. Judge hits the home run to walk us off. I'm running to the parking lot. I'm getting in the car to beat traffic and drive from the Bronx to Tribeca. It's like a 30, 35-minute ride. I had it timed up. I knew what went on, and I just was at the game. I know exactly what went on.
Wait, and this always worked?
I never missed a show or was never late. Last year, it worked fine for me.
Of course, next year and this year, you have a kid coming up. So
now I think I'm done.
Others. You're going to be running from the diaper stand to the car. It's going to be a much different situation. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of respect. A lot of respect. I just worry that someday it's going to be Game 6 of the World Series, and you're going to be an hour away from being on the air, and traffic, boom.
No, I mean, I give props to the technology we have. I'm in the stadium. I'm looking at Waze. I'm looking at Google Maps.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm in this. I mean, in the 7th inning, I'm starting to think about what kind of game this is and whether I should leave. I remember last year, Gleyber Torres hit a home run in the beginning of the 8th inning and the end of the 8th inning, and I almost walked out on that 8th inning, and I'm like, glad I stayed. But I'm watching the traffic, and I'm, either I'm taking like the West Side Highway or the Harlem River Drive south. I can see what's going on. Now, there could be an unexpected accident while I'm driving or something, but it's New York. There's enough ways to maneuver around and get off exits and figure your way out. At least, I mean, knock on wood, I've been lucky. I've cut it close, but I've made it every single time.
So you're watching the traffic, you're watching the bullpen rotation, and you follow the team so closely, you know how many moves they might make.
Yeah.
It's incredible. That's a fun calculus. Aren't you a little stressed out? Don't you wish you could just enjoy what you're doing there? Or is that, but you kind of seem like you're a go guy.
Yeah, it's me, getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
It's me still being who I was before I got to the radio and TV, and still like running with the bleacher creatures and some of the season ticket holders and people that I know at the stadium. I've been going to the stadium consistently since 2015. And then also being here for my responsibility, which is to host and do my job. But like it works hand in hand. People want to hear what went on at the stadium. People know I'm at the stadium from following me on social media. So it's like it rolls right into the show. I think it adds to my show. If I'm at home and I don't go to the game, I can't add that layer of, in the 6th inning when you heard the fans doing this or chanting this, it was because, this happened. So it all works in concert. It all goes together.
Oh, I love it. It's all going to change. You're about to have a kid, so you're going to be doing a lot of that on your phone. But it'll be, trust me, I had kids, and you're not going to believe this, but you actually become a better worker in ways. I know everyone thinks that it hurts your career.
You figure it out.
No, because, you figure it out, and it changes your life for the better. I think there's studies that men actually become more productive. Actually, that's unfair. I don't know if it's true with women, too, after you have kids than before you have kids, which you'd think would be the opposite. But, and I'm not saying this is you at all, but it tends to make you responsible in a way that you didn't realize before. Does that ring true?
Yeah, I think I've been reckless with myself and my own time and, my own places I got to be. I'll cut it close. You can't do that when you have a doctor's appointment or you have to be somewhere for your kids. You have to really budget your time correctly and prepare and plan and execute. And I hear that a lot, a kid or having a child gives you more of that like juice and that want to and that work ethic.
Definitely.
Now you're working for not just yourself, right? I've been working this hard my whole life to get myself to this level. Now I'm working to stay at this level so I can support my family. It's a different energy.
Yeah, no, and it's also, too, there's maturity, and you're having a boy. Eventually, you're going to be able to watch sports with them. Now, my girls have no interest. It's bizarre.
Yeah, but that's cool. Right?
That is cool.
Because I'm thinking about it with my son. I'm the only one in my family that played varsity sports, that got a scholarship, that went to college, graduated college, that broke into the media, 10 years out there. I'm the only one in my family that has done anything like this. There's one of me. Now, if my son wants to follow in my footsteps and do what I do, great, nepotism, and I can show you the way. You have much better of a head start than I did. But if my son is into something completely different that I never thought about, I'll facilitate that. I'll learn it with him. I always use, I don't know why, but I always use, like, if my son is into plants and gardening and, like, really into agriculture, like, that's something I don't know anything about.
You live in Jersey City, dude.
I live downtown Jersey City.
That's not happening, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know. But, like, there's going to be something that piques his interest that doesn't pique my interest at all. But because I'm going to love my son and I'm going to want to see him succeed, I will, jump into that with him and facilitate that. And, hey, if you need gardening tools and different things, let's go get you the best that we can get you. And then that's going to enrich my life. That's going to open up a whole lane. I'm very sports focused. Yeah. And I tell people that all the time. It's just what I've taken to. I played everything growing up. And I think since my dad wasn't around, like, I didn't have, like, a father figure to say, do this. I had the television. That makes sense that I'm a Cowboys fan, Yankees fan, and I was a Bulls fan. That's the teams that they marketed to me as a kid. So, like, I saw the TV at 4 or 5 years old, and I'm, chasing a dream. At first, I wanted to be a professional athlete. And then I got to high school and college and realized, like, only a small amount of people actually do that. But I was in college now, so I can take this college degree. And, my first year I was undeclared. And then when I transferred, I really locked in on communication, radio, and television. This is what I want to do. Fast forward to where we are, it all worked out. I don't know what my son's going to be into.
Well, by the way, if I'm calling you in 4 years to say, oh, did you just see what happened in the Cowboys-Eagles game? And you say, no, I'm too busy planting zucchinis in the backyard with my son. I have to be honest. I'm going to be disappointed. But my situation is
Sundays, he's going to know.
Sundays, no gardening.
He's going to know we're not doing the gardening.
Those squash are going to have to weed themselves on Sundays. My issue is my youngest daughter, who's 11, wants to be an actress. And that's code for probably unemployed, living at home. No, I mean, come on. You guys know. I mean,
she's 11.
She's 11.
We're not talking about jobs yet. She wants to. She really be in theater. That's what I thought you were going to say. It meant you going to, like, theater and recitals and, like.
No, she wants to be a professional actress. She's applying. We're in New York City. We live in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So we're applying to there's tracks. You go, I don't know if you know LaGuardia, the Fame High School. She wants to go there. We've been filming auditions. Like, she's in it. Like, that's what she wants to do. It's great. No, I love it.
It's competitive, but, like, at least at 11, she knows what she's into, and that could lead her into something else. Maybe she'll want to be behind the camera. Maybe she'll want to write,
Yeah, I mean, maybe she'll want to quit that and become an investment banker so I don't have to fund this dream of hers.
You're trying to get ahead of all of this. You're like, hey, listen, there's some jobs that, like, you're probably not going to make that much money even if you do pursue. Why don't you be a lawyer? Why don't you, go to school and study medicine?
One thing they won't be is sports talk radio. And I'll tell you that because my 11-year-old I listen in the morning. She's getting ready, and there's podcasts and football on. She goes, I don't understand the player you talk about so much, Baker Mayfield. Why do you guys talk about a baker? I thought you guys were talking about football. I have no idea. That's literally where she is as a family.
Baker is his first name.
I'm well aware of this. Whatever. You got a kid who's stuck out in the garden and doesn't want to watch the game. So don't even give me. No, but seriously, I don't know if we'll see you the rest of the week. But sincerely, good luck. You're gonna be an amazing dad, and we're all excited for you.
I'm thinking it can't be tomorrow. I'm texting my wife, and we haven't gotten word that it's tomorrow. So I should be back tomorrow for the same time slot.
Yes, and I pray that the Lakers win because I dismiss the idea of them losing the team so badly.
I know I already said I'm done on my bets, but I'm about to find $100 to put on Minnesota.
All right, well, big thanks to Emmanuel Berberi and Stu Kovacs on the other side of the glass and Keith McPherson. Hopefully we will see him later this week. Huge play-in game tonight. You know I'm back in my Lakers. I don't know how they became my Lakers, but I'm into it. See you tomorrow right here on the Maggie and Perloff Show.